Oh, I'm watching Sunnet. Oopsie. Not that that's bad. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Oh no, is this a different look for Nora? Well, this is a thing a friend of mine has made a while ago. It's a PNG tuber, a reactive one with talkie animation. And I thought since the counter is at 0, we are using it. Yeah, we're being flat today.
Yep.
We're using it at least for a little bit. Counter never meant that we were out of the suit. Not really.
No,
but you know, we can do this. We can do this.
Yeah.
This is
I've
allowed.
fun with that for a bit.
Yeah. Then I had this for like 2 months and couldn't use it because of the counter. So here we are. To just show it off for like a minute. You can zoom. You can see where the edge is there. It can be bigger. But this is a good size because of the show. We have different eyebrows, like these ones. We have no eyebrows, then there's no head. And some additionals, and then there's this no eyebrows but head. Yeah. I think.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, honestly. I also it has different like lip flaps, which is nice, and it's a blink sometimes. Nothing too super special. And yeah, we can have with the head on. I think that's where we at. I like this one.
Yeah, go back to the classic.
Ah, it's a bit of the classic. Yeah. Okay. Hi everyone.
Hello.
We are talking about the 2 things today. First is the thing that everyone knew would happen. And second is helpful advice for your game. Is there more topics, or is it more or less where we're at, Drake? That's the topics I had.
Honestly, that will cover a lot today.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion. Because there's so much that we can say about those. If we have need of more, I can go into the well, so to speak.
Yeah. Look, it's Sigil, the great and amazing VTT by Wizards. That's like
so
in 3D and stuff, and they are still selling it to you.
Mm-hmm.
They are still selling it to you.
Yeah.
If you're a Rube and you buy it, you're only yourself to blame. But it's in the, I think it's in the D&D Beyond subscription now. Maybe. Wow,
yeah.
one
well,
map.
Okay. To explain it, it was always intended to be part of the DDB. Just they were going to have tiers for everything. And then at the top tier, the rumor that was circulating was that they were going to have AI GM at the top tier.
Yeah, which is never happening anyway.
Never going to happen now.
No, it's never happening ever. This is stupid. Anyway, yeah, they killed it, guys. Yeah,
completely killed it dead. They fired 90% of the people that were working on it, which meant 30 employees. So there's only 3 or 4 people left. The 3 or 4 people left, I'm assuming, are supposed to just wrap things up, put a bow on it, and call it good. Because it still exists. They will probably still just let it malinger there as a legacy for a bit before they finally figure out, oh gosh, maybe we should take this down. This is basically what they did in 4th edition when they did the virtual dungeons that they were doing as part of 4th edition. That project, I think, lasted 8 months total because they had a public beta for 8 months and then closed that.
So it lasted longer than that then because they clearly made it before. But yes, so they're still on this. They're just chasing this dragon, or word chasing the same dragon from 4th edition. Yeah.
Basically, the thing from 4th edition was a virtual dungeon that you played by yourself, where you moved your one character, and then you could have a party, but the rest of the party you couldn't control. And they completed a dungeon together with. It was like a turn-based thing with almost all the RPG elements removed.
Mm-hmm.
It was more like, oh, it's like chess, but you pick fighter and wizard.
Great.
It was really bad. The AI was terrible. Like, monsters would do stupid things. It was terrible. I remember testing it at one point. Bad. Bad.
We were glad to know that this new one doesn't even have that stuff.
No, doesn't even have that.
Isn't an AI or stuff yet, as far as I'm aware. It's just maybe the map making AI. But yeah, they were touting this for a while. We had repeatedly said on the show that it would never happen in the way they want, because like this is something I actually learned from mods, like for Skyrim and stuff. Like, it is surprisingly hard to make assets for stuff like this, right? Like if you make a new dungeon or something, it is difficult. But it is a one-time investment where you can, if you put the time in, you can arrive at a thing. Is it good or bad? Let's not even judge at all. Let's just say, yeah, there's a thing there that you can walk through, or that you can use, or whatever, depending on what the asset is, like different sword, different character model, different dungeon, right? And you need a bunch of those to make an adventure. This is already asking a lot from your DM then, because even if they have a build your own adventure 2 set, that's time spent, right? Like where before 5 circles with connecting lines on a map might be a dungeon, because the DM only has to plan it out with like rough ideas. Now they have to make a whole like 3D thing. But then the other thing that's impossible there is the fucking writing, story writing in a games engine. Like, takes forever. And you don't need it if you are like DMing for somebody, then you might get by without, right? But if they wanted to do that for a virtual DM, so your AI has to know what the map is. I guess to be able to read what the map is, what each and every single monster is, what their tactics could be together. They must be able to know that's maybe things are smart together. Because otherwise, if you have every skeleton always behave the same, even if there's a necromancer there or not or whatever, players notice immediately. And there is, most importantly, like just the writing of the dialogue. Even if it's AI assisted or AI purely does it, it has to make an internal consistent sense over the course of the whole dungeon or adventure. And AI can't do that.
Yep. Tests that have been done with AI doing a round-to-round combat, they always forgot what happened in round 1 past a certain point. And of course, the certain point varied very randomly depending on what was going on. Sometimes it was round 3, sometimes it was round 2, they forgot. But just it's not capable of doing it. It just is not capable of doing it. You're better off playing Battle for Westnoth. You just are.
Absolutely. That's free. So yeah, that's what our stance was. This is never going to go anywhere. And hey, if Wizard now agrees with us, it won't.
Yeah.
Really, my question is, right? If you just look at this one screenshot, right? If you are DM trying to make a encounter for your game. All right, I need to stream you my browser, I guess.
That might help.
Yes, it would help, yeah. Sorry.
It's all good.
So I'm a DM. Okay, we are in this overland place. We put a bridge, we put the road, we put the greenery. There's some letters in the background. That's already like flair that you wouldn't have necessarily, because why are they there? There's this light. Who cares? like the map has to be make itself as well if it's supposed to be time saving. But then it's gonna put the lamp there every time, and it's gonna be boring, right? After a while, like it is so hard to hit this right, that it's basically impossible.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw them pull out like their little tool, and it made more dungeon for them. I'm like,
yep.
Okay, cool. Doesn't make sense that there's another room there. Like, what is this dungeon? And that's like the problem that you run into with people. Like, no offense to the people who made this, very talented, I'm sure. But you need actually to have storytellers with experience as DMs help you with this, because they would be like, well, is this an old castle? So there would be like cellars underneath where the turrets are and stuff, and maybe under the actual castle itself, right? And not just willy-nilly sprawling out underneath like at random, because no one builds like that. It's not a thing. Because you are breaking your own walls if you do that. You're making it easier to get into your castle if you put like a cellar underneath your walls, shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe next step is like, well, if counter sapping and sapping is a big part of it, then those are there actually, but they're death traps, those rooms. That's actually the one time where you put the death traps in there because you want anyone who enters that room to just get cooked by oil or whatever. But all of these considerations can't go into your map making tool. They just can't. Like, if you want to have that, it's prohibitively much work, prohibitively expensive. Because we have to define rules now for what is a castle underground, what is a ruined city underground. Are there like tunneling creatures in between the different cellars? Blah, 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 blah. It's infinitely complex. And never are you going to make it so that everyone is happy. Because you can come up with any number of things. And then, sure, you can approximate by saying, okay, we want tunnels. They can be dark tunnels versus you drop down says excavated tunnels, which is like a mine shaft or something, versus a Ankek dug this tunnel, you know. But it's still, then you're just having the same shit again. Meanwhile, in a normal VTT, where we let our imagination, I'm touching mate, you can't see because of the current model, my imagination do the work. I can just tell my players, okay, this is like, I know this is just 2 lines, but this is like a mine shaft.
Yep.
And players are gonna be like in their head, gonna imagine what a mine shaft is if they are like, I thought about this. If they are face blind, no, not so face blind, if they are unable to like imagine things in that, you can give them a picture of a mine shaft, and then they can be like, oh, this looks like that. Yes, close enough. What's the thing?
Yeah,
again?
there's a word for that.
They have aphantasia.
Yeah, aphantasia. Yeah.
And that's only, and I truly believe that like people at D&D might have aphantasia if they need this 3D thing to feel immersed in the game.
Also, there are just people who just lack imagination to begin with. The reason why I phrase it like that is that aphantasia is a very specific thing, but then there are people who are just like, I can't be arsed to imagine a mine shaft. And I'm like, that's the whole point of this to begin with. You're going to have to put in a little bit of effort. Sorry, guys. If you can remember the rules for Texas Hold'em, then you can also do this. Like,
yes.
It doesn't require that much. It really isn't asking that much.
Yes.
And the big thing about why this is terrible overall is that, first of all, Wizards is not a software development company. It just isn't. They don't have the setup for it. They're not organized for it. They don't hire the right people for things. Like the guy leading this, Andy Collins, he's not somebody who has a background in this. He has a background in writing for D&D. not coding for D&D. So no shade on Andy Collins, but it's just like that's just kind of the nature of the beast. That's another thing that Wizards has been very infamous for doing, is that they act like the modern world corporation, where they constantly put people in positions where it's like, I don't know if I should be here. Like Mike Merles, who is great at designing RPGs and technical RPG stuff, was heading up Magic the Gathering for quite a while. Why? Come on, like, I get the idea. You want to keep him in the company, but you got to actually put him in a position where he wants to do stuff that is going to be productive. Now he's at Chaosium developing RPGs. So, yeah.
So, one more thing to say about this, which is why I have this specific article open. Further reporting by Rascal, which is like an original site that dropped these guys here. Public article, like, I'm not subscribing, so this is why we are looking here. Alleges that development on Sigil was rocked by a lack of clear vision and divisions between Hasbro upper management, who had hoped that Sigil to treat Sigil less as a virtual tabletop platform and more as a standalone video game that could have potentially utilized other IP from across the toy maker and its developers, as well as an internal rift between Sigil developers and the D&D Beyond team as they developed their Maps VTT system, with the latter purportedly denying the former access to internal Beyond data. Great. So you really had everything in this. You had corporate from above saying, okay, we put Barbie and Ken in it. And people from the side being like, well, we don't want to give you our Beyond data, that's our data. Like, what the fuck even?
There's so much to unpack here. The main thing to unpack here is the Rift part. And like anybody who knows anything about this kind of thing, they were basically asking these two groups to create competing things in the end, because the D&D Beyond was going to be doing the Beyond Maps VTT system, and that's very different from what Project Sigil was trying to do with a fully 3D like rendered area. So yeah.
And I must admit, because I'm completely checked out of like what Wizards is doing, I didn't know that they were actually making two VTTs. They're making this, and they're making D&D Beyond Maps, which is essentially a Foundry clone. But it's only for D&D, so why would I ever, use it? That's my first question there. My second thing, then it makes total sense that people would deny usage of their data, because as a developer on the Maps VTT system, you can look at Sigil and Black, man, they make cool maps. If that ever actually takes off, we are out of a job. So we are not going to give them the data that they want to sabotage them. That's very corporate of them. I'll say that. It's not really how do you make good product, but who cares about that, right?
Yeah, and basically, okay, if Wizards tomorrow said we're going to be developing another card game, Magic the Gathering employees would be like, fuck you immediately. That's just going to happen, because you're the one saying, hey, we're going to do this thing that's you're going to put your job at risk, and we're going to publicly announce it. What? Are you kidding me? After you fired how many people last year? Because that's the other component to all of this, is that everybody who works as part of the D&D Beyond team, they don't want to lose their jobs, because many other fucking people lost their jobs recently. Ridiculously large numbers of people, in the thousands. So come on, they don't know what they're doing. They really don't. And what they should have done is very simple. They should have said, hey, Larian Studios, we will pay you to make a set of tools for Baldur's Gate 3 so that people can make their own like dungeon stuff that they could run in multiplayer. That's all they could have done. And instead they decided to shit all over Larian and piss them off. And as a result now, we have independent BG3 tools that exist.
I'm not even sure if these are independent.
Yeah, that's an independent site that you're looking at right now. The modding wiki, yeah.
All right, yeah.
It is independent because I'm pretty sure that was part of the original thing that they couldn't do a BG3 tools. But, what they did instead was, hey, here's a place where you can put on your mods. So I know that part is official. So yeah, it's they shot themselves in the foot so hard. Meanwhile, I don't know if you know about these games, Solasta, something Magister. Solasta was a game that was made that was more traditional, like top-down, turn-based, blah blah blah, based on the 5th edition SRD, and then they're releasing a sequel based off of the 5th edition SRD. And once again, Wizards could have chosen to, hey, we could cash in on this by, I don't know, doing XYZ, saying, hey, you can use this official stuff, that official stuff, just pay for the rights for it, yada yada, and made some money that way. But they decided not to. Once again. Yeah. After, Larian Studios paid to use the name Dungeons and Dragons and made tons of money.
It is kind of funny that the work to make their 3D thing basically had been done by Larian.
Yep.
I think the only thing that's guaranteed was missing was ease of use for making maps.
That's it. That's exactly it, yeah.
Which they would have had to add on top, or someone would have had to pay to add on top, right? But yeah,
and it's doable.
People.
So.
Oh my god! Why would it just link here? Okay, people can make this custom maps in Baldur's Gate. Here's some nice triggers. I assume it's a trigger points for stuff to happen.
Yeah.
Why do we need to pay VTT for anything? Oh, Sundert, hello.
Hello, Sundert.
Hello, Sundert. Welcome in. I just realized every time I type a number, it actually changes the eyebrows on the wall. Without me wanting that to happen. I don't know if I can rebind those keys.
Oh, that's good.
Well, hi, Sundert. Welcome in. Thanks for the raid so much. Did you win your mission? I think you can guess what topic we are on. What I really find funny, again, is that Hasbro also had hoped to put the other IP in this.
Yes.
That's crazy. That's so crazy. That's classic manager. Manager doesn't understand moment. No, but it makes maps. Can't we bet anything on the maps? What about our IP? Again, what about Barbie and Ken? Can they be there? Can they be in the Sigil? What is this, by the way? It's a weird name. We should probably change it.
The irony of us knowing this and finding this out is Ginny D and a couple of other what do we call them? D&D tubers had put out videos of, hey, how can we include Barbie and Ken? This last couple of weeks. In her case, she's modifying Barbie dolls to be D&D characters.
Oh no!
So it's a little that we find this out, or a little bit too much coincidence, I guess I should say, that we find this out.
That's awesome.
As those kinds of content have been dropping.
And that clearly must mean we actually want it. It's the same as putting Morbius in the cinema a second time because everyone was busy the first time it came out.
Yes. Oh my god. And this also explains why they were trying to get people to make Transformers RPG, My Little Pony RPG, and a bunch of other RPG stuff and get that out the door.
Yeah.
Because if you noticed, those projects came one after the other very quickly for the studio that was supposed to be making those. Which always leads me to conclude, all right, they want to tie this in somehow at some point, right? And of course, here we go. Here's the proof.
Yeah. I agree. It's just like, I was very checked out of this whole topic because I was never going to use this either way. So, yeah. But yeah, obviously you're right, Atta. Like, the same people who put Starscream into Magic are going to put Starscream into D&D as well. It makes sense. Yeah. It's brand, identity, growth, blah blah buzzword. I don't even know what to say. Like, absolutely the dumbest shit ever. But yeah, great, awesome, good. We love it. We love that it failed because it was always gonna. Sorry to the developers. I'm sure you did your best. Hope you find your work.
Me too.
Because I think if anyone knew that this was not going to happen, like, never mind what they have to say to the press. If anyone knew that this was never going to happen, it was going to be those developers. Because I've been in projects where you kind of know that this is not going to, like, go.
Yeah.
And you work, you do your best, but you just know months before anything gets cancelled that this is not gonna ever see the light of day.
Yep, it's got that stinky.
Yeah, it's a special kind of demoralizing when that happens.
It really is.
At best, it would be one thing if they put a Warforged into something and then they say his name, like, he looks kind of like Starscream, but he shouts a lot and stuff, and it's like a reference. But what they are doing actually is just one-to-one Transformers in whatever thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because they also have no creativity about that shit. And
they have no creativity.
Yeah. That's the... Oops, why is that often? That's the issue there, in my opinion. And yeah, also, if they had like 35 people working and they fire 30 of them, like they say 90% in these articles. I don't know if this one in particular says, but roughly 90%. So that's like if they fired 30 people, they had like 33, 34 people working on it. That's a critical mass of people let go that you won't continue this project ever.
Yeah.
Like, a large amount of knowledge about what this shit even is gone. And if you hire anyone else now to work on it, theoretically, that means they're starting by reading the code base.
Yeah.
Instead of having someone explain it to them. They're starting by poking at it like a user would and then trying to understand what happens. And that's like months of getting yourself onboarded before you're even halfway where the other team was.
Yeah. That's why everybody's been moving to Unreal 5 these days, is because they want to bridge that gap. Yeah. So I imagine, I'm just picturing, oh yeah, we want you to work on this this failed project, just clean it up a bit so we can have it available for the master tier for D&D Beyond. Not a big deal. Just have a look over it. And then immediately somebody emails back, it's not based on Unreal 5. Why? Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And this is like how Gorillas and Powerpuff Girls in the Sim universe end. Since Elton John, Snoop, and Black have appeared in Gorillas videos, they are now Powerpuff characters. Like, the brain that does this, honestly, that is a problem for me. You have to be able to divorce, like, cameos from actual appearances and stuff. Like, I'm sorry.
Yes,
I know the internet is very good at cataloging things, and I know all of those people have been in Gorillas videos, But nah, fam, that doesn't track for me. That's stupid.
No.
Also, it's just generally stupid. Why do we have to have a wider canon for who's a Gorillaz character? Why do we need that? Why does anyone need to know? Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And that is one of the greatest... Waggle said it before, so I'll just use it again. Fortnitification is just always bad. It doesn't matter who it is. It's just always bad. I'd rather you build on your awesome canon or put some things that fit in your awesome canon than fuck around with things in this way. Like, I don't want Shodan in Lord of the Rings. Stop.
Like, it's the member berries effect, right? It's like, let's highlight this again. The member berries effect, where, yeah, sure, I recognize Starscream. Oh, he's in D&D. How? Oh, he's a character in some module, I guess, giving you a quest or something. Okay. Who is this for? Like, super fans of Transformers? Are they gonna play the module because of it? I don't know. I guess a portion of them might, if it overlaps with their interests in D&D, right? But even, like, if you buy literally everything that comes out with your favorite thing in it, then that's the only people who buy it, actually. And they will never engage with the wider thing that it is from, because they already are a super fan of something. You can't be a mega fan of, like, 10 things and buy everything from them.
No, it's impossible.
The synergistic effect to having, like, these different IPs together is that some guy somewhere is going to buy it more.
Yeah.
But it's not going to bring you more fans. It's not going to bring you more long-term engagement, and it might actually ruin your long-term engagement from other people who are like, the fuck are you doing? Can we please focus on my stuff that I like and not on the stupid Transformers? Like, I'm not saying they're stupid. I'm saying that's what this person thinks. That I made up in my head. Like, they shouldn't be in this. Stop ruining my thing that I like.
I don't think there's statistics on it, but this is like the thing that I've gotten from talking to a lot of people over the years, is you are more likely to end a super fan than you are to create one when you do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just statistically, because they don't want Fortnite Spider-Man. The Spider-Man fan isn't going to go play Fortnite just for Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And they might actually stop being a fan of Spider-Man. Oh man, gosh, they decided to just let that go? Never mind.
Yeah, I think that if you do enough pandering with your IP, that can definitely happen. But I still also think it's more likely that people who like the thing, right?
Yeah.
The thing that you are now putting other thing in, those people are more likely to jump off because, hey, you made my thing worse. And I guess Fortnite is such a great example of this not happening in it. Because Fortnite is always just pandering and everyone knows it. It's like, oh, put Spider-Man in Fortnite. Of course they did.
Yep, exactly.
They put whatever fucking thing in Fortnite. Godzilla, the Transformers, the guys who robbed the bank in Heat could be in Fortnite. No one would bat an eye. I don't know. It's just maybe a bit late for those guys. You never know. You never know. Yeah. Now that I spoke it into existence, it's gonna happen. It's
like me with Painkiller. I said they're gonna make a Painkiller remake, and then it happened.
I don't think that will happen because there's no groundswell for the Heat bank robbers to be in anything. Because the movie is just a standalone one and done thing. But whatever the case may be, this is why Bassett brings it up. 40K has so many super fans and has cultivated them so hard. Because Games Workshop is very, very strict about what they allow in their fucking IP. Like, sure, they might be like, oh, you made an army like that is like kind of non-canon and use it for yourself. Oh, that's cute. That's fine. But they'll never put that shit in. It took them until last year to say, oh, there's female Space Marines, by the way. And that was a huge issue for many people, for many stupid shots.
Yeah.
Like, where I'm like, guys, they are like 3 meter tall flesh monsters who are basically made inhuman by all the add-ons you put on them. That is the point. The point is that they are no longer, that they are like some sort of, they are superhuman, but they are also no longer really human. They are just there to fight. They don't do anything else ever. It is a terrible existence if you think about it. So if you can't see that, and if you're just there for cool, shoot man, way better than normal guy, then yeah, cool. Thank you for literally not engaging with the deeper meaning of anything and being part of the problem of that particular subculture.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, that's a very good way to put it. Oh, my goodness. But to respond to the comments in chat, yes, Charlie Chaplin in Fortnite.
Yeah, well, sure. He's dead. He is dead. He can't say anything.
Exactly. Just have one map that's just him doing that speech that everybody remembers him for.
No, I think what you do is you put the machine that crushes the worker. You put that into Fortnite, and you have to go through the gears and squeeze yourself through there to get to the treasure chest. Is that what you do in that game?
Treasure chest. You have to build platforms in order to get there. Yeah.
Because that would be the exact amount of tone death I want from Fortnite.
Mm-hmm. Press X to exit the wagey cage.
Yeah.
Oh my god. That's too real. But you're gonna put that in the game now.
That is probably they're working on it as we speak.
Yeah. Oh god, it's so dystopian. It's probably beef by the same people who made the that pigs game.
Yeah. And now,
boy.
like here's the thing, right? 30 people for a year. This is, let's stick this to 30 because it's easy to math. You're paying 30 devs. It's like, depending where you paid them. I think it said somewhere, right, in this article where they were laid off. No, we could look where Henry Collins is, but I don't really want to look into anyone's docs on stream at all. We're talking like a good chunk of change here. Like that's $500,000 per month at least to get these people employed. It's probably more than that. Like if you say 60,000-70,000 for good devs, depending where they are, it's not unrealistic. I'm talking dollars here, of course. This is like a bit much maybe for euros, but they don't do this in Europe. They didn't do this in Europe. So they sunk several million worth of money into this pit. Basically wiping out a lot of the money they were making, I think, from like D&D, which, you know, this is actually one thing belatedly ruined by COVID. Because here's how I think the timeline went with that. It's 2019. Hasbro cares that Magic cards exist.
Yes,
Hasbro knows that makes money. There's some sort of vestigial thing out on the side of those Magic cards. It's called D&D. And no one cares at Hasbro. And that's awesome. For us. For everyone. Because the suits don't care. So the people who are there in Wizards can just do what they want. Yep. And it's 2020, 2021. The pandemic comes in. Everyone's stuck at home. And suddenly has maybe more time for their hobbies and shit, right?
Yep.
So a lot more people play D&D. A lot more people also have time to watch D&D online. And get interested in that shit, because they're like, man, I just got laid off from COVID. That sucks. I might be getting money from the government later. That's cool. I I don't know though. This also sucks. What do I do with my free time now? Well, I was meant to watch D&D Beyond. What's it called?
Critical Role.
Critical Role. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just watch Critical Role for like days at a time and become super invested in it because it's kind of a good show, right? If you can just binge it. And then I'm super interested in playing, so I play and then D&D suddenly sells like twice as much product as did it last year.
Yeah.
Because people are coming in from all fronts, getting the books and getting the D&D Beyond thing. Because hey, we are playing for the first time. Yep. Oh, there's an existing app which you can use online to play with. That's cool. Let's use it. Let's get D&D Beyond. Let's make characters.
Yep.
And then suddenly a suit is like, wait, that place is blowing up. That needs to stay that way now. We have to make more money every year from now on with like that. And,
Yep.
And the people working on D&D, like, others, they're like, oh no. Really? Really, do we have to? Is this necessary? We don't know how to do this. Because, yeah, now people are back to working. It's harder to find the time to engage with this as much. Their sales are down. The new edition is also underwhelming and they didn't put enough work into it. Maybe because people were fired. Part of the problem.
Oh, yeah.
But the firings are a clear sign that, well, you didn't make enough money. We have to have our growth. So we have our growth by firing you fucks. And that's like money in our bank this year. And now half the people can figure out how to make even more money next year. Good luck. Like, we are putting this sword of Damocles on a very thin thread above all your heads, by the way. Good luck with writing under those conditions.
Yep. And then simultaneously, while this is all going on, people can't play cards at all.
Mm-hmm.
They have their online tool for Magic the Gathering, but you have your physical cards that you can't use in that. You have to buy them again, except they're virtual cards.
Yeah, of course.
So you're frustrated immediately because you're like, I want to use my cool card. What the fuck?
Yeah.
This virtual card is $2,500. What? As a result, then Magic the Gathering slumps while D&D went up temporarily during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And the big thing is a lot of the stores that ran those Magic the Gathering tournaments and things, they closed permanently. So it doesn't come back. Yeah. And it won't come back. Yeah. And it still hasn't come back years later. Yeah. And Hasbro has this weird idea of, no, if we just build it, they will come. You're not building anything, shithead. You're telling somebody else to build it. And even then, you're doing it while firing the guy that they've loved for 20 years. So come on. Stupid.
Very stupid. But yeah. Then, of course, I have to make the maps for D&D Beyond, the map feature. Which, if you look at that, like, D&D Beyond maps. Like, look. Oh. It's Foundry, or maybe even it's much. Maybe it's just Roll20. I don't know. I don't know how far they are. But here's my question that they can't answer. Why should I pay for this if I'm already on Roll20? Why should I pay for this if I'm already on Foundry? Why should I pay for D&D exclusive if I ever want to play anything else? The reason is, of course, fuck you. D&D Beyond subscription. There. Is of course that here. Best value master tier. They want every single person who plays D&D to be in the master tier. And then also buy the books virtually that they already have physically. We already went over this. We'll have to do it again, basically. But, like, an analysis that I saw some time ago that I find very true is this. So, the people mostly buying product for any TTRPG is the people who DM the TTRPG.
Yeah.
Because if you're in enough to make game for other people, put time in to make an adventure or make a campaign for other people, then you buy these books because you really love this game that you are going to play. Players might buy a book, but the very nature of the game is such that DMs need most of the books. Players need maybe one book or two.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm a player, I'm deliberately not engaging with your monster manual. I'm not engaging with your adventure modules. Why would I? Like, I'm only ruining my own fun by reading those. Meanwhile, the DM buys the adventures, judging that spending $20 on this adventure is gonna mean, well, I can run this for like 10 sessions, and then $20 is like $2 per session that I need to do less work. That's worth it for me, because I'm working, I don't have time.
Yep.
And that's the same reason they buy the monster manual, and the same reason they buy other things is that, well, I could design monsters for this.
Yeah.
But if I just take the monsters from the book, easier, time saved, right? So by the nature of things, DMs buy most of the books. But by the nature of the things, DMs are also maybe 1/5 to 1/8 of your consumer base. Because many people say they play D&D, few people say they DM it.
Yep.
You have more players, usually, in any game, then there are available DMs to make them games. Because you always have that subset of players that's like, man, I can't find the game. And this is why, in a very stupid way, it makes kind of sense for Wizards to try and make the AI DM a thing.
Uh-huh. Well, like we always universally realize why they would want to try, but it's one of those things where, oh boy, we already went over that. Can't even remember what happened 2 rounds ago.
Yep. And that's for one person. Imagine how it's like with like a full party, theoretically.
Oh, God. Yes,
but that was never
5 people. Yeah.
It was never a selling point, though. That was always going to be for one person because they were that realistic. Mm-hmm. But regardless, yeah, that's why this would exist.
Oh, yeah.
Monthly rewards. Ooh, new frames. Look.
Oh, wow. Fuck you.
I can just make this in Photoshop and then have it in Foundry, you idiots.
Yep. And the funny thing is that I've mentioned this before in private, I'll mention it here. There are a number of map makers who are doing amazing map maker programs, one of them Dungeon Alchemist, which has 3D assets, that if somebody decided, what if we could take this and then throw even a basic bitch VTT over it? Oh my God, everybody would be doing that immediately, and it would already be better than what Project Sigil was doing, because Dungeon Alchemist already has a huge infrastructure for uploading new assets.
Yeah.
And just, there's just so much. They could have done so much more if they had just taken a risk with an outside company, any outside company. But they didn't.
Exactly. And then, like, look at these. Like, they must be trying. Like, there must be, like, whole afternoons of like long meetings in marketing where they're like, we can't find any other things to put on this list. There are no other benefits. Oh my God, our money. It is Pyro. This is we reached 0. No, I'm using this for a little bit because it's fun, and a friend of mine made it, and I keep losing my hat. Here's my hat back. This is my original look. This is the original look from back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look at it, right? So we have a free tier. We must have the free tier because there is a big subset of people who will not pay for this.
Yep.
Which is also why you must have in the master tier the ability to share content with restrictions that apply.
Restrictions that apply. Yep.
which is, for example, I don't think you can share custom content, which is super stupid, but whatever. Yes, I can find their socials in a second. I can for you, Pyro. Problem is that I didn't. I changed browser, so now it doesn't know the link. Fuck.
So is how it be.
I should be in my. I should be following them, right? Oh no.
Hopefully.
I'm gonna figure this out because I should credit them. That's also for sure a thing.
Yeah. Multiple people will be asking later, so good to have it now.
Yeah. While we talk, I'm gonna find them.
Okay. So yeah, I will continue. And tier structures are an essential part of like how all of these things get monetized anyway. You just look at Roll20, etc. But then you turn around and you look at something like Foundry. Hey, pay once, and then if you want to have us or have a third party run a server for you for this, cool. Then you can pay your monthly or your yearly or your whatever, and you can put whatever content in there you want constantly, nonstop. But this is true slop. Because you have to have master tier to create a custom weapon that does something slightly different. Just not even a magic weapon, just something slightly different. If you want to put on your sheet that you have a backpack that has an extra pouch in it, you have to have master tier in order to do that. You have to use their items that they have written and they have scripted into their big Excel sheet, their big COBOL thing, to be able to put it in your game. And you can't do anything else. And it's so stupid. And even then, what I understand is that at the master tier, because I've known some people who are weak, they still had trouble maintaining their custom items from campaign to campaign because they would create something and then they'd have to recreate it and then recreate it and then recreate it, but in a way that was more annoying than when they had to do it in Roll20 from campaign to campaign. So there's just so many arguments for why you shouldn't be doing this. And right now they have the Sigil beta still up for you to fuck around with if you want to. But it's not worth it. It's not a value add. It's so beta to the point where this feels, of course, way more like an alpha. And the VTT maps, it looks like, man, I'm trying to remember. There's another virtual tabletop that we had talked about, but it looks more like that one that's like existed since like the early 2000s, and that one's not a value add either. And if it looks like that, then it's just not worth it. Also, all of these VTT things, it'll only be for D&D. That's it. You can't use it for anything else. Whereas Foundry has so many plugins, adaptations. Roll20, sure, it can be difficult to get that one custom sheet to work, but it still works better than any of this. Which is saying a lot because of how many times we've cursed Roll20 over the last many years. God, now I'm saying many years. I feel old how long I've used Roll20. But yeah, you get it. It's so horrible what they wound up doing. Hopefully Andy Collins, who was the lead for Project Sigil, lands on his feet because he's basically been doing work for not just Wizards, but before it was even acquired by Wizards, work for D&D since at least 1994, if not earlier.
Yes.
He's worked on so many things. He worked on 4th edition, he worked on 3.5. He wrote for Dragon Magazine and Dungeon Magazine. He's just been like a cornerstone.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like what happened to him was similar to what happened with Mike Merrills. Mike Merrills was put in charge of Magic the Gathering stuff. And I imagine he just floundered there because he's a tabletop guy. He's not a card guy. What the fuck are you doing?
Yep.
And then in the case of Andy Collins, he's not a coder from what I understand. I would have to look to see if, he has any background in that, but I really doubt he does. He's more of a writer. So why is he here? But yeah, just it's painful. It's painful. I wish that more. So we know that the current owners of Shadowrun are doing Hollow Streets now, where you can upload your own content, but they don't. But they did it in like kind of like one of the laziest ways possible. And then there's of course something very similar for World of Darkness, where you can upload your own content. And that one sees a lot of play right now because so many people are so dissatisfied with 5th edition Vampire, Werewolf, and Hunter that people have just been uploading their own stuff like crazy. Usually stuff that's way better than what exists right now. And yeah, I feel like the hobby has been pendulum swinging back to the way it was at the start of 3rd edition, where everybody was writing their own stuff. Yes. And everybody was consuming that way more than they were consuming like the latest thing from Wizards. But, at the same time, Wizards was actually able to compete with stuff back then because they were releasing a book like every month or 2 months back then, sometimes as much as 3 or 4 months. But they were releasing content that you could consume.
Yes.
Now they don't. They just don't now.
Indeed. Okay, folks, I put the link down below. I also put it in chat earlier. For who made this, the person. So I must put my hat back on. It's really, I need to not have that on the numbers. I don't know how to change it. Also, I actually updated Yasha's. Oh man, I didn't update that in a long time. Yasha was still in there with her old handles. But anyway, oh, they are also actually. Oh, it's another thing. Because they also did my banner. I never changed my banner, and I must. Bing bong, because they also changed it. Why do people change the handles? God damn it. Makes it hard for me there. Anyway. Yeah. I agree with you. Like, it sucks hard that they are burning through their talents and putting them into, like, basically their. Like I would assume at least partially that's true for all of those people, putting them into their position of not incompetence, but the position where they don't really know enough.
Yeah.
Like, I have worked in fields where you had to like have external people who know the about the field you're working in. Let's say for. It's not something I did, but let's say they work in hostelry, like in hotel stuff, customer service stuff for that. You need those people to tell you what should be in the software that you're making for hotels, because, need it. Because if you don't know, because the programmer won't know, right? But then those people who tell you then get promoted to be like project leads for things. And then those projects flounder because those people have no idea about how to program. And you need at least a certain baseline knowledge to set realistic goals and stuff. And this might have happened here, but I think it's squarely ultimately at the feet of the people who insisted on making this in the first place, which is the Hasbro suits, I assume.
I agree. It's also a lot of people. When I worked in medical stuff, a lot of people joked about people who had degrees in marketing because it was very much a thing is popular, why don't we do thing constantly from people who have a marketing degree. So if somebody in middle management at the hospital had a marketing degree, they always thought in terms of that, and they couldn't think any other way ever for any reason. And it wasn't even about number go up. It was because thing be popular. Let's do that. Which was even worse because they weren't willing to look at why it was statistically a bad idea to do something. Yep. As said it was. But they posted about it on social media. And that's what it's really become now. Is, all these grandmas on Facebook really want us to put more vending machines in the lobby. Like,
oh no.
Yeah, it's that kind of brain.
Like, I do love that while they sell you like Sigil, they haven't figured out how to make a bag of holding work. That's funny, Hatter.
It's so funny.
Because here's the secret to that, right? Here's the secret to that.
Mm-hmm.
No other VTT actually cares about weight of things. No one cares about weight of things. Anyone who is like old school enough to be like, oh, but you need to know that how much your daily rations and stuff weigh because we are doing travel, blah, 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 10 minutes of explanation. I'm out. Like, sure, it can be fun once in a while to be like, okay, listen, I can't carry these things. It's too much. It doesn't make sense that my character could carry these 10 axes that we found. I already have this, that, and the other thing from earlier. Where would I even put 10 axes? Okay, so then Frank has to carry them. Nah, I have my plate mate and stuff. I can't carry 10 axes either. And then you leave them behind because, yeah, okay, that made sense. It's a little moment. It could also be fun to track like certain resources, like, oh, we are stranded on a desert island. Time to write down exactly how many loaves of bread we have and stuff. That's cool. But in a normal game, even a second spent on asking yourself, can I carry this piece of rope that I want to buy, is squandered and annoying bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't even care. And it's the actually comments really enhanced the mega dungeon we were doing in that campaign, which made it all the more hilarious that I couldn't see mega dungeon. I would write that as, yeah, okay, maybe you do track it there specifically, but then even then maybe not all the time, like, because I always play the strong characters, or a lot of the time do, and like, well, my character has 20 strength, I can carry that shit. Who else is gonna be able to, if not me? Whatever the case may be.
Encumbrance is good for survival stuff a lot. Then outside of that.
But then it's even more funny that they who have literally made the game didn't figure out, oh, wait, bag of holding that weighs XYZ, right? The bigger those bags are, the more they weigh themselves. That's kind of their thing. They always weigh several pounds, those bags, even if they're empty. But they can hold way more than they weigh, so they are worth it. That's the logic.
Yep.
So they can't figure out that if you put something in there, it doesn't weigh anything. It's fucking hilarious. Like, it
really is. Like, God, this is where we are now. Where I remember so many years ago, there were Zork-like games where people were able to figure out if your character gets the cool item that is like a bag of holding. They called it something else. Legally distinct bag of holding.
Mm-hmm.
They were able to figure out any weight you put in there is null. Like, they were able to figure that out all the way back then. And we're still having people not being able to figure that out.
Why did you open it like this, you stupid program?
Oh, that was great.
Okay. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
Like, I'm back here now. It is very funny still to me that also that in Sigil, like, you're paying $5 a month. You're paying one premium game on Steam per year for 15 host frames, whatever host games. Which is way more than anyone will need. Okay, that's fine. But 83 painted minis, 60 unpainted? Really? That's crazy. That doesn't seem like a lot for, let's say, even 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we assume like that player minis are theirs, which I don't know if that's even correct or not. We each get 50 custom minis, so what even is these? Are these then? That's
a really good question.
I guess I buy the painted minis, as virtual miniatures or something. So why would you limit that if you're selling them? Am I painting them? Are they not custom if I paint them? Why is it different? Like, it's so baffling.
Very baffling.
They really didn't even know how to monetize this.
No.
No. Because if you look at free versus like basic, like player tier, hero tier, you get nothing here. You get nothing for maps either, which is funny. And all you get if you pay them is unlimited character slots. I guess an encounter builder you don't need because you aren't DMing.
Yeah.
And you get early access to I don't even know what, a week in advance. And you get monthly bonuses, which I can't even highlight because it's nothing. Fuck your monthly bonuses. Either everyone in the game has access to the same shit, or it doesn't even fucking matter.
Because that was one part of monetizing this sphere that they just did not understand. Giving a monthly bonus of here is a bonus dungeon or something that you can only get if you subscribe. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, that's terrible. Like, that's not, no.
Yeah.
Not how it works. Cool, I guess we just won't play the dungeon since Carl doesn't have access to it, so he didn't subscribe for that month. Like, what do you want from me?
This is probably done. Okay, it's not done. It's on Gold World, but that's fine. This costs me $5 a month. This is my server. It has 2 games on it, both for Fabula Ultima. However, if I were to go into the setup and go into there, which we are going to do because I feel like doing that. I think that's the password, right? Yes, I'm sorry if I'm logging anyone out, but I think it might just be me on a different tab.
It's just me.
Okay.
It was just me. I was the only one in there.
So, would we like to play any of these? I'm not even gonna stop so that you can read. I saw Cult in there. Like, holy fuck, you can play Cult on my server if you just install the thing for it. Like,
literally.
Knave. Spanish games I don't even know. Mythic.
There's some games in Portuguese too.
Yeah. Bonfire. These should be sorted by something, but they are not, I guess.
Morkborg, there was Cyborg in there. You want to play any Blades in the Dark? It's in here.
Cthulhu Dark.
Cthulhu Dark's in there.
Iron Claw 2nd Edition. If you play like playing Leland versus Fox. Honey Heist. Like $5, guys. If I play a different one of these every week, I'm not done after 5 years.
No, not even after 15. Like, it's like the sense of scale that I want to give everybody is that, like, if you scroll through the official sheets on Roll20, still don't have as many entries as you have here. Like, they still have D&D 4th edition here. Yeah.
You can't play D&D, it can't be any other edition than 5th on Beyond, that's for sure. Systemless, you can be game agnostic, you can just have sheets that you write on and then put dice values next to them. This one, you need to know bits about more than a little bit about HTML to make stuff for it, but fuck it, it's still there. That's your option.
It's still there.
If your game is not on here, you can make it yourself. And oh, look, premium content, it's empty. Oh, exclusive content, it's empty. I think these are here on purpose to show you that this doesn't exist.
Yeah, like those are placeholders for that reason, because originally the idea was that they were going to do that, and then they said, no, we're not going to do that. You pay one time for the license, and then you pay for the server. That's it.
World of Darkness 5e, this might just be all of World of Darkness, since you brought it up.
That's one other thing I want to add on to this too, is that if you look at a lot of how they handle things in here internally, they will add so many things together into one thing. Like you can do all World of Darkness 5e. You can do Hunter, Vampire, or Werewolf. You can just do it. I know that the 20th anniversary, it's a little more difficult. But Shadowrun, there you go. We want 5th, not 6th.
I wish I was 4th in here. That would be so good if 4th was here.
It would be.
I would be so happy. Whatever the case. Like, this is now we are running into the problem of someone has to make it. But would you rather a team of 30 people in Wizards makes you D&D, or the world makes you hundreds of different games for $5?
Yeah.
What's your take?
Exactly.
And quite frankly, in the Fabula games, I don't know why only the Project FU is game worlds, and you can
use your
make
other
game
systems.
world. Yeah. I can also make unlimited worlds here. I probably might at some point have to pay for more space on the server, because we are paying for the smallest server, which is like 5 gigs of storage. But 5 gigs of storage is gonna get you a ways before you run out.
Quite a ways, yeah.
And like, okay, in between the modules and the assets, we might eventually have to pay a bit more. But fuck that. Sure, I can go on the file browser and delete old things as well. Which is why this is better than Roll20, because Roll20 is...
Oh god,
holy shit, it's so bad to delete anything there.
The lack of a mass deletion feature is the number one thing that makes Roll20 the worst.
And then, as we see here, you can put a bunch of add-ons in that make your thing better. Like, we have the virtual dice we roll. It's dice so nice. That's how we roll virtual dice in the Fabula game.
Yep.
Clocks are just a feature you put in, not from Fabula. It's just a feature that you can have for any game. Just install it if you want clocks.
Yep. If I run something else in the future and I want clocks in it, I can just add clocks.
Yeah. Custom dice for dice so nice. It's its own feature thing. Background scaler is for making you zoom in on stuff look better, so on and so forth. Like, a lot of this is required almost to make it look good, but you can, if we install module, it's gonna load for a minute because there's a lot of them. There's 2,685 modules you could want that do stuff. Some of them are specific, like Pathfinder 2 macros. Some of them are Walter, a module to help alter walls. I think this is like so you can break walls live or something.
Yep, that's correct. That's what that's for, yeah.
Like just so much bullshit I can just click on and have for fucking $5. Technically for free. Like, that's the other thing. I could host this on my own computer for free. I paid the license once. It's a lifetime license. It's not a fucking subscription model. It's a lifetime thing. I paid, I think it's $50 for the license. Okay, that's a bit of an onboarding thing, but I'm the DM. I pay that cost because I also buy the books, right? To call back to what we said an hour ago. Why would I not take this thing? I'm paying $5 for this to be hosted because I didn't want to figure out how to install this, and I don't want the hassle of having to run it on my computer. Because my computer's already taxed, you're running a VTuber and running games and OBS and shit. So having someone run it for me is great. And the only problem I ever had with it was that after an update, I couldn't log in. But I figured it out on my own after a little bit. That something had like fucked up a little bit, and while talking to their support, which I could talk to within very short time.
Yes,
we
that's
figured out
thing.
together.
Roll20 support is forever.
Yeah, they couldn't like replicate my issue. And so I was like, okay, it has to be on my end in some way. So I cleared cache, and then suddenly it worked because I don't know what they cached, but that happened. Like, it can happen to you on anything. That's the only problem I had with it, and it was fixed like within half an hour, and also within half an hour before a game, turns out. But yeah, again, like there's 294 games in here you can play. Yeah. Why? And then if you have seen Foundry from the inside, it's very nice to use, and it's very nice to play in. Very customizable and very user-friendly for both DM and player.
Yes.
This is what they have to beat with their D&D only thing, and they won't. They just won't. Like, it's just not gonna happen. And they must know internally that it won't happen. But it is worth for them to develop it, because then they can tell you, but you're paying $5 a month to have your maps feature. Isn't that nice? And all it does really is it creates a captured audience on Beyond, which they really want, because then those people they can sell stuff to. Because I learned, for example, that in Beyond you used to be able to buy like, oh, I need this feat for my character. It's from this and that book. I can buy that book for $20 American as a PDF to have for as long as I pay monthly subscription. By the way, it's not going to be really available beyond that. I guess I can download it. But I can also just pay $1 to download just that feed and just use it. That's the thing they made. And then they discontinued it because I guess it wasn't making them enough money.
Yep.
Like,
it wasn't.
Insanity. And then some people trying to tell me on YouTube that that's actually a good value add. That you can just pay $1 for it. Like, what? No. Get out of this fucking bubble. That's actually a thing I want to shill for this. Because this video is great and I watched it yesterday in chunks. And I put it on my server, but no one reacted because it's like an hour, 15 minutes. So it's like understandable. Let me just, where did this? Is it here? It is. This video called For-Profit Software, creative software. And what is this about? Well, no, we don't want to listen because we want to watch. We aren't going to react to our 15 video. No way. No. But this is about somebody who in college learned like 3D modeling on a software that was perpetual license for $200. And then as the years go by, that number goes up. And of course you buy the version. So if the new version comes up, you have to pay at least an upgrade fee, but it's probably not the full cost, so on and so forth. And then that gets discontinued and monthly subscription comes in. Why? Well, it's better for businesses. Businesses like monthly subscription because they can just factor it into their employee cost. And then it's like almost like we save money, even though we aren't saving money. It is still stupid for businesses, if you ask me. But businesses like it. It's the only place where they do. And then it's like, yeah, we're going to pay $200 a month for that software eventually, was I think the number. Don't quote me on it. It's in the video. Please watch this video. I'm going to put it in the link. Put a link in chat. Watch this after we are done. Really enjoy this. This has blown up quite a bit. This person has 10,000 subscribers and is watched by 168,000 people over 6 days. Yesterday, H-Bomber guy commented on it. So you know this is going places right now. And the point of the video is that if you price out the people who actually make content with your stuff, and you're pricing it in a way that it's only going to be companies that use your software, then what happens is that you are guaranteeing that over time, no one knows your software anymore except people who are already working in the field. or who study to work in the field.
Mm-hmm.
So you are creating a weird little class of captured audience for your software, but you are also fucking limiting it to a huge extent. And stuff like, and it's also the point that stuff like, free license for people who are in college isn't helping, because then once those people leave college, they don't have the license anymore. And it's also talks for a long time about how shit that feels for the creators. Because if you learned 3D Studio Max, say, and in college, or maybe you used to have a cracked copy, but this doesn't work anymore. Whatever the case may be, and you need it now, and you can't get it because it costs so much, then your skills that you have acquired in that software over the years, they are now useless to you. Mm-hmm. And that feels terrible. As someone who has a shitty little graphics tablet that cost me $60, and as someone who's had that cable for that break, it felt terrible to be unable to use that tablet, because for some applications it's just so much faster than trying to fiddle with your mouse to do pixel stuff or do any sort of graphics work.
Oh, completely, yeah.
And that's a one-time payment, and then buy a new cable, right? That's just that can happen, but it felt terrible, and it will feel the same if you like a Photoshop user, Adobe Photoshop, back when, let's say 15 years ago, where it was affordable, and now you're just a hobbyist doing some art on the side. You can't. There is no way you can afford fucking Adobe Photoshop anymore. So you have to go to a different program, and the skills, sure, some of them are transferable, but many of them aren't. And yeah, you can go open source, and you should. And that's also part of the point of this video, is that, Blender, once you learn it, is just as good as other things for 3D. Yep. It doesn't have certain features yet, always has problems, but every tool of that complexity has stuff that you would like it to have, and has some problems in it, right? Mm-hmm. I think for the 2D art, there's still a lot of affordable programs, because personally GIMP, I must say, I tried to use GIMP to do art. I bounced off of GIMP super hard, because it is very much a forest full of features that, as someone who comes in from the side, like having maybe drawn with Photoshop 6 or something, and who expects no fault of anyone, expects Photoshop 6 level of content customizability. GIMP hit me over the head with a brick with all the features, and I couldn't make sense of it, and basic features didn't work like I was expecting them to, and so I just bounced off. But in 2D space, you have pretty much a lot of tools that are maybe like $50 or less, like Paint Tool Sci.
PaintShop Pro is a big one.
Yeah, PaintShop Pro. They have Krita, which is free. You have Clip Studio Paint is not $50, but it's often on sale for $50 or less. Yep. I have a license for it, and I even bounced off of that because I'm now used to Sci too much.
Yep.
Paint Tool Sci is very nice for just a simple I want to paint thing.
And as somebody who's used GIMP a lot, part of the reason why your personal experience is experienced by many people is because it is very Linux brained, because it was originally designed to be for Linux. So that's why there's a lot of features that are just like, question mark, why does it work this way? Because a Linux user thought it should be that way. No shade on Linux, it's just that they're built different.
Yeah, it's just for the fun of it. This we are going a bit off topic, but this is like related, so.
Also, it's related because people draw maps, so.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I don't care. Oh, look.
Jesus Christ.
Right?
Yeah. I willfully haven't looked at things like this in a long time. I willfully haven't.
Yeah.
Because fuck these people. And I'll just say it again, fuck these people.
What is this? What are tokens, you ask? This is also in the video. Basically, you can buy flex tokens. Those are great for occasional users. You can put 6 tokens in to run the program for 1 day, for one 24-hour period.
Yep.
You buy 100 tokens for $300. So that's 16 days of running the program per year.
Yep.
For $300. It's absolute insanity. Like, this is not pricing you can do, and obviously we aren't there with. We won't get there with TTRPG stuff.
No.
But this is kind of the end, the idea of what D&D Beyond would like to do. They just can't price it like that.
They just can't. You're never going to be able to offer what it is you want to offer. And then find enough features to add on top of that to even make it even remotely, or even within the realm of considering it to be viable. Like, it's just impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, if there's one thing that has really triggered me recently when it comes to monetization, is token systems. Imagine if D&D Beyond worked on a token system.
You can you can play. How many times do you really play per year, huh?
Yeah, huh?
Just buy 100 tokens, and 1 hour of game is a token.
Yeah,
and we
use
measure
those tokens to buy a page of the Player's Handbook.
We measure the hour of play by being logged into the account. By the way.
I forgot to log out. Shit, I used all my tokens.
So if you forgot to level up and if to do it the next day, that's a token gone. The DM will speed up that campaign because we only have so many tokens there. Yeah, this would be. I can see that happening. That's really something I can see happen. Not quite like we say, but I can see it happen. But yeah, like all of this stuff, stuff like that, like these prices are so insane. I can't, like, every time I look at it, it's just like my brain just goes, oh my god. Like, again, they are pricing out their own customer base hard with this.
So hard.
This shit used to cost $200 for perpetual license years ago. When, like, and anyone who learned on that license, they're either working in the tool still, or they are no longer a customer because it's inapplicable to them because their skills are now gone.
See my Unreal 5 comment earlier.
Yeah. Which also doesn't even go into stuff where it's literally gone because the program was discontinued. Because what happens in the space of paid programs is that stuff gets bought out, and then Autodesk realizes, well, we have 3 programs that kind of do the same thing. Let's kill one. And then the makers of like games are like, what the fuck are you doing? We needed that tool to make Guilty Gear look good, whatever. It's gone forever. We can't use our whole workflow is gone because of this. And Adobe shrugs and doesn't care. And all of these are good reasons to go open source, which Foundry is. And that was the whole pitch here. Why would you ever pay for a closed garden in D&D only games where they give you a stupid little thing to go around your character as a March reward? Just so stupid. Like, you can make this shit. You can make this yourself for your character. Just get a free art program and cut something out of somewhere and put it. Like, it's not like they can sue you for your putting like a trademark snake picture into your game. Like, make sure you steal from D&D if you do, not from like individual artists. Holy fuck. But yeah, the like, they want the walled garden because that's the way you keep people paying.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And in this case, it's small enough money that it actually still works to pay, like, because this is pricing that has to hit a consumer. If D&D was something companies did, then there would be 2 more zeros in all of this.
Yeah, 2 more zeros on everything, guaranteed. Yeah. Man, thank you for showing me those numbers. I purposefully don't look at these subscription models for art programs and so on because I know it will drive me up several walls. And yeah, that still flabbergasts me. That much money a year, and then also tokens. Fuck you.
Like, ultimately, this only benefits Autodesk. I am in this boat for my job for like a coding tool, right? Because while I don't do coding as my main thing, I do some coding. And I need a license for coding tool. It's also hundreds of bucks a year. And it used to be just buy the license. And then until we release a new major version, that's your license. And major versions don't come out that often. So ever since we switched, they switched to subscription, they're getting paid more money. So this is what happens. This is why you go open source, because no one can stop it. No one will fuck with you. And they, even if companies like release something and then later make it payable, if it was open source, someone will fork it. Someone will fork it and make it free still. Because, yeah, the rent seeking is out of fucking control, and it needs to be curtailed. And this is also rent seeking. This is just rent seeking on a smaller scale.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Foundry and Overpass is the most cost-effective bang for your buck. I didn't go into as many details as you did, but I clearly elevator pitched it to you too. Yes, you did. I had fucked with Foundry in the past a little bit with my because a friend of mine in real life used Foundry during pandemic to run some games, so I knew some stuff about it. I didn't really know like how to set it up, but it turns out fucking easy. Like, they literally just the most like in-depth thing you need to know is how to use an FTP server to put stuff on your server.
Yep. That's all you have to do. And even then, like, I used FTP for forever, so I know what's going on.
Yeah. And there's tutorials for everything. It's great. So perpetual license for Foundry, awesome.
Yeah. Really awesome.
Since Foundry itself is also only the server, and then everything we have on the game systems is made by someone. Is the person who made 13th Age is Escolabs, actually. Sorry. And if we go here to GitHub, we can look at that shit. We can see, oh yeah, there's probably a bunch of people working on it. We have 13 contributors to make the 13th Age. These aren't paid people. These just have fun with this shit. They just jumped in. And probably some of these people just came in here, don't know anyone, and just put in like a code review item for a thing they added to it. And then someone else said, yeah, let's put it in.
That's simple.
And yeah, it's gonna live forever for so long as Foundry exists. And yeah, okay, sure. At some point, someone has to get paid to make this, which is the licensing.
At some point, yeah.
And that's fair enough. If they ever go monthly with their licensing, then you know it's over. Then you know someone has to fork this and make it. Because we say we pay $5 a month. I pay hosting for a virtual server for $5 a month. Yeah, that's why it's $5, because hosting, I understand I'm renting the server. Also rent seeking, really. But in that case, it's worth it for me because, again, the hassle of having it on my own machine would be a bit much.
Yep. And to add something on to this that I'm sure would be the question in somebody's mind: how viable is it to run your own server on a piece of hardware? You can run a Foundry server on a Raspberry Pi.
Yes.
There are tutorials online for that.
Yes.
So, go ape about it. Seriously. My internet connection is sufficient that I would be able to do a lot of things with hosting. I just haven't done it. But
I technically have a Raspberry Pi lying around I could use. But again, I also don't want to spend the time, because the good thing about renting a server is that I didn't have to install a Linux machine on anything. And then fuck with the installation. I can do that. It's actually my job, which is exactly why I don't want to do it when I'm not doing my job.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Because it isn't fun. Because I'm then on the clock for updates, for making sure it's working, making sure people can connect, for making sure it's running, for if it ever crashes, repairing it. No thanks. I'll pay $5 a month to not have to do that. But yeah, okay. So that's enough of that topic, I think. I think we ran it into the ground. Like, yes, Sigil, their big VTT has fucking failed. It was always going to fail. The pie in the sky, they were stuff they were talking about, like virtual DM and stuff. If AI is involved in your customer-facing content, it's going to fail. It's over at that point. AI is not the thing that people seem to think it is. It's just shit. It's just your phone, you clicking next word on your phone 20 times, but using 25,000 servers and RAM sticks to do it, so that it can draw from way more potential words and know better what the next word might be. It sucks. It's terrible. If you have ever engaged with any of it, it's immediately off-putting and bad in terms of what it writes. You can tell it's AI, usually. No.
A big no. Yep.
Value proposition for it was never going to work out. It is super hard to make assets for 3D. We just went over it. Like, what private person would have then gone in to make assets for 3D? The only option would have been Blender, because Blender's free, right? But yeah, that's like a huge bar to entry to making anything for Sigil would have been that no one really has these skills, and if they do, they would like to get money for that, or they are making it for themselves and then maybe releasing it, which is man. But yeah, the value proposition for this was never there. The value proposition for the maps system is also really not there if you think about it, because we just proved that with Foundry. Or if you just don't want to pay things and want a bit of a jank moment, then just go to Roll20. That's free.
Roll20.
If you are adamant on keeping it free, just make more than one account. You can DM on that. You have 2 gigs of space. If it's full for one game, just make a new account, make it the DM, and continue. Fuck it, who cares?
Like this, like it is what it is. If you want the jank, go for it. It's not a big problem.
In some cases, it's the only way. Like if you want to play 4th edition Shadowrun, we have to go to Roll20.
Yeah.
Because I'm not making 4th edition Shadowrun on Foundry. I'm sorry, I don't have the time.
And beyond the time, it is a headache. It is definitely a headache to do these things. I will never underrate the contribution these people have done.
Absolutely not. Anyone who works on this stuff in their free time, they are doing such great work. That's amazing. Good job for everyone. Like, you don't get enough praise by half.
No, just generally don't. Related note, I did look up to see if World of Darkness 20th Anniversary Edition is supported. And yes, there's somebody who did an all-in-one for it. And how often is it updated? Well, it was updated 9 hours ago. So there you go, people.
Oh no, it's a European doing it then, probably. Well, That's what you get. Yeah.
Yep.
I look forward to the news that some external person is. I think that's maybe the next step. Some external manager from Hasbro corporate is just gonna get put in charge of the whole division, and then that's gonna really be the end for D&D.
I think it will be. Yep. I mean, they already kind of did that with the one lady. I forget her name.
Yeah, I don't
remember.
Yeah, like we are at the point now where they are failing to meet goals repeatedly. So maybe that means they're going to be left alone more again. Because yeah, sure, this portion of the company makes us money, but it doesn't make us all of the money. So maybe we can just let it make us that money that it makes and talk about it too much and then keep it going. But that's not really how these corporations end up working. Sai.
No.
We wish they were.
Actually, I do have the tea on that.
Okay.
So Chris Cox had been replaced in 2022, who is the CEO of Hasbro now. He's the one who said, yeah, I use AI for all my D&D games. What are you talking about?
This fucker, yeah.
But it was Cynthia Williams who became the CEO, COO of Wizards of the Coast from 22 to 24. She came from Microsoft.
Oh.
And then her successor was John Haidt, who had previously worked at Blizzard Entertainment. So there you go. The current and the last CEO of Wizards of the Coast. Outsiders. Total outsiders.
Yes. Great.
Yep, that explains everything.
Let us hope that it all burns to the ground so that we can make something better out of the ashes than what's currently there. I think that's the only solution at this point. In terms of
actually completely agree.
Wizards and D&D. Like it would have been nice if it lived longer and if it was good, but it just ain't, so I don't care anymore. Okay, we have been on this for 82 hours. Let's call it. That's enough. Let's instead go to the other thing we wanted to do and talk about non-standard encounters and how to run them in any game.
Yep, and I will get on this as well because you will be doing some visual.
Yes, I believe I'm streaming you still the browser, right? Yeah.
Yep. And it's nice to have somebody to interact with who's also in it.
Oh yeah, sure.
Just in case.
I just want to show, like, if you were there yesterday, I did an arena fight, and it happened in a way that one character was in the arena and the other characters were not. This is a moment where, as a DM, you have to ask yourself, well, if I make this into a encounter level fight, that's gonna be bad. Why?
Yep.
Well, it's a free fall with 8 people in it, one of them being a player character.
Yep.
So I would have to roll dice for 7 opponents who are mostly fighting each other. Immediately, if you just do a full-on hit points, hit 2 hits thing, you are not going to be happy.
Nope.
Because you're sitting there as a DM every round for minutes at a time, rolling out, did it happen, what happened, blah, blah, blah. You also can't just make it, can't just not involve the other players at all. Because then why are they even there this session? Because this is going to take 2 hours or something. So it did end up taking 2 hours in the game. So how am I involving other players? And maybe should I find a way to put them in the arena so that we can have a normal fight? Stuff like that. Questions, right? And basically what you have to realize is that if you always use the full rules of the game, like full combat rules especially, for this stuff, you are shooting yourself in the foot very hard because you are making things drag on for a long time.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. Like There's only a couple of systems where I can say it hasn't been a drag, and those systems are the ones where combat's way more interesting, where you're emphasizing maneuvers and doing cool stuff.
Yes.
And rolling different sets of dice together, different pools, and so on.
Yes.
What could I be talking about? World of Darkness. And that's the thing, is when you go and you say, let's do clocks instead, abruptly you're in a new arena. Because, and this is something I realized when I was staring at a World of Darkness character sheet, the health progression, as you lose health, usually it has 7 levels. I started it and realized, oh my god, that could be arranged in a circle.
Yes.
Oh god.
Yes.
It's just a clock that's been stretched out into a ladder. That's it.
Yes, that's how most things, of course, are. Yes. So one thing that I used, and that I just want to go over what I didn't do. So of course, in Fabula Ultima, in Foundry or anywhere, you can make NPCs with like full stats and shit. None of my characters, none of the fighters I used in this, even had a filled out character sheet. I had not even given them stats here. Because I knew I was not going to roll these in the chat.
No.
Why? Because rolling them virtually, like doing, oh, I want to make a roll here. It's at a minimum going to throw these dice and going to show a result here, probably with more text than this. Sorry, I'm kind of, it's next to my face. It's not in the way. I'm fine. And it's going to clog up the results that are important, which are the player characters' results. So as a DM, I oftentimes roll physical dice and just apply the result into the game because it is faster for me. First little lesson. That's not always going to be the case, but since we weren't going to do a real fight, it made sense to not roll virtual dice. First lesson here. Secondly, I can, if I go in this case for this tab, I could be like, hey, these guys, like our player characters are level, I think, 16 or something now, 19? 16. I could make these characters level 16, giving them more health and mana. I could make them a rank 2 fight, which is then doubles their health once again or something. And I could look and, oh, we have 5 build points available. So this guy maybe has, this girl has 20 more hit points, 3 defense bonus, and 2 MP bonus. And then maybe we give them some like combat abilities, like some weapons and a spell and another action they can do. And then
we are the nitty gritty.
Yeah. And then we circles. Like basically almost filled out over MP and not defense, whatever here too.
Yep.
Right. Whatever the case may be. And then we have maybe a character that is kind of on the level to fight for my party. Something like that. And of course they would have better dice as well. They would have like something like maybe this. Who knows? Right? I could put these thoughts in and I could define these abilities for my NPCs, because hey, I might need those, right? I might want to roll an attack. I might want to use the battle shout ability that I came up with. I did not even put them in. I didn't do anything. The only thing I did was max out their stats so that they wouldn't be, because if I just do like, oh, they only have 11 hit points, then the token actually gets the little crisis icon automatically. So I had to put them at full hit points. That's the only thing I did. And at no point during the fight did I update the hit points. I just wrote on a little in a notepad how many slices of their personal clock they still had. I could have actually maybe done it in a way where I activate a resource for them. Like if I could always for everyone their resources.
Yep.
Which actually didn't take here for some reason. I think resource HP. Oh, there they are. It took a second. So now if I were like, okay, this is their clock. Like this person seems to have 10 slices. So if I go to 80, you kind of tell that they are down a bit, right? And then if they are 20, close to down, we know they don't have that much more. That might have actually been a nice way to visualize it, but going into 6-7 tokens and updating them for that takes longer than us writing the number down in a little sheet on my side.
And then the alternative, of course, to that could have been the little icon in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, add clock.
Yep.
Then put 6 clocks on display.
I could have put like for every single fighter. I could be Willow, and then I could be like Tommy, and Tommy is maybe a bit tougher, so he gets a 6 clock or whatever. I could have done that too, but the reason I didn't do that in specific is then I have. So we have Triana, which is our own character, who had 7 slices. We had our the rat. Oops, it's the game screen. That's not what I want. Like the rat, but 5, and then like imagine like there being this many clocks. I personally would find that confusing because we have 1, 2, 3. There's still one more. So. Zul is also here as 24 because he's actually the boss, you know. Oh, that actually doesn't work very well anymore. Holy shit, that looks weird. Okay, well, it's fine. This is just like to show, because then if I'm like, oh, Red has lost 2 hit points, this guy has lost 2 hit points, this guy's lost 1. Yeah, it's visible, but the important thing for the players was this, was to know that that Tuyana was had lost 2 hit points and that the rat had lost 2 hit points, because Tuyana wants to win the brawl, and the rat is kind of the secondary objective they have to save because they need information from that guy. And he is not in here by choice, he just wants to live, right? So not having it written down for Tommy serve the purpose in that, well, you don't actually know if he's gonna go down next hit. He's the big guy. Are you gonna take the risk? It's in a way more interesting. And I described it as, man, this guy is not looking great anymore. But because Tommy and Willow, the people who were the whole time in the middle of the fight, they had both had a 10 clock for their hit points. They were actually like above the players. But the idea was, well, they're gonna focus each other. And they're not gonna they're gonna fight each other in the middle. They might get fucked up by traps a bit, but they aren't gonna be focusing players unless they get interrupted in their duel, or one of them wins. And it was But then we had a bunch of other fighters outside that were, to a varying degree, effective or ineffective, who you could fight. You could go in the middle, like Tuera could have done anything here. It's fine, right?
And that's the other purpose of all this, having a big idea space.
Yep. And then like and then the next question is, of course, well, how do we know who lost hit points if we aren't really rolling against anything? What I did was pretty simple. Each character had an attack roll, which I made up according to their stats I thought they might have. So Tommy, for example, is a D12 in strength and a D8 in dex, and he's fighting with a big sword, so that's strength dex. So I roll a D12 and a D8 for him. Willow fights with a big hammer. She only has strength. Her strength is D10. She gets 2D10. Soren the Swift has 2 swords, also 2D10s in that case. Sim, the Ambusher, super offensive focused guy, 2D12. Thina, the Monk, more like defensive focused, D8 and D10. Okay, cool. How do I know what their defense value is? Well, I just assign them one. Tommy, 10. Willow, 9. Soren, 10. Xim, 8. Fina, 12. Lord Guang, 13. I just put it down. And then I can roll the dice, look at the defense value, and be like, okay, they hit. And if they hit by more, if the hit is glancing, like if the hit is like, you hit a 10 with a 10, it does 1 damage. If you hit a 10 with a 13 or more, it does 2 damage. If you crit, it does 3 damage. That was simply the rules I went by. But I didn't tell the player in advance exactly how that worked. Because if the player knows too exactly, okay, if I get crit, I'm out now. Or if I have 5 slices, I'm safe. Like, they can infer that more or less from logic, but they shouldn't know exactly how it works at all times.
No, they really shouldn't. Because it's a free-flowing fight. And that's one of the things that has really been lost with HP systems, especially.
Yeah. So a round of combat would literally be me sitting here looking at the defense values, being like, okay, I roll dice in my little tray that I have next to me for each character. I figure out who they are attacking, and I figure out if they hit. If they hit, I figure out the damage real quick, and I write it down, and then I have the clocks for every character. I'm not showing them, but they go down.
Yep.
And if they're at 0, no one's dead or anything, these people are just out. They're gonna get help from the medics. The only person who doesn't get help is the rat, because the rat is here as a punishment. It's kind of as almost a loot goblin that people can step on and then get money for that. That then they might lose because they get defeated later. Which is just like a nice little bonus arena, making the arena stuff interesting. Because hey, I don't know who goes in the arena. Maybe a character that cares about money goes into the arena, and then they might actually just bonk the rat over the head, figuring, well, we might get this information. We need another way. This is just a guy, one person new. Who knows? Like I'm not going to tell the players how they have to play. In this case, it's worked out that the rat was saved, though. But whatever. So now, to finish up the thought there, I have a way to really quickly know who rolled well and not. That's applicable in Fabula Ultima. You roll 2 dice. In another system, you might roll just 1. If you're playing stuff like D&D, it's a good idea to just ignore bonuses for NPC versus NPC rolls and just be like, okay, on a 12 or a D20 they hit.
Yeah.
I don't have to know that they get 16 bonus and the other person has an armor class of 25 or whatever. I don't have to know that. I just have to know that on a 12 they hit. Because it's quicker to look at while you are figuring out the combat.
Yep.
And then you have that. Now you have figured out, okay, this is going to be how all these NPCs are going to interact with each other in a way that I then describe, that I don't script in advance. I don't know who's going to win the fight. I just know for every character what's their goal, what are they going to do moment to moment, because I thought about it for a minute. And then I describe the outcomes as I roll them. Cool. That doesn't help me at getting the other players in, right? And honestly, if you have a situation where that's not possible for whatever reason, there's also ways to go around that. We can talk about those later. But in this case, and in many cases, the players will be around. And so the best way to engage them is to give them something to do around the fight that is interesting. In this case, we can see the setup. I really liked finding this picture because it was very close to what I imagined this actually looking like. Where it's like, well, pretty clearly, it's not really that hard to interfere with this fight. You can just throw your tankard of ale at somebody down there, for example. Or you can shout at people. Or you can interfere in many other ways that I don't even want to imagine. I just know that the other players are physically close to the fight, but aren't fighting in it. So if they want to do something, they can. If they are going to be obvious about it, like, oh, the cast of the group throws a fireball into the arena, well, someone's going to stop them. They can throw that fireball, but then they're going to get kicked out of the venue, maybe also get beaten up or something. because you're fucked with the fight. What are you doing? But if they are subtle, like for example, Rahila in this case used an encourage ability on Tuyana, the character in the fight, to give them increased stats for a while. Quite impactful, potentially, to do that. And it isn't something that's going to raise suspicion because they're just shouting like, you can do it, Tuyana, yeah, let's go. And yeah, great. Buffs them. No one knows what's going on. It's subtle magic on a way. So cool. And then another player was like, can I just pay a point so that one of these logs falls down? And I misunderstood it as you want to cut it down or something. No, I just want that to happen because I think it's cool. So that log, since they paid a point, hit someone in the fight, of course. Of course it did. And at that point, since everyone has the option to do something, I'm kind of good as a DM. Because if they don't want to do something, or if they don't know what to do in a moment or whatever, it's fine because they can still act later. They are free to act in the way they want, so they can interfere in the fight if they want. But they're also understandable. It's the moment for that one character. It's fine to spend an hour or two on that a bit, have them have most of the spotlight. And then I don't worry about it anymore because at that point, everyone at least feels engaged with it because they know even inaction is in a way influencing the fight. Because imagine if just someone is like, every turn, can I shoot a poison dart covertly at one of the enemies and knock them out? And I'm like, yeah, you can, of course. And then it's in the arena, people fall down suddenly ill. Yeah, that's obviously going to be a big outcome change there. But it can happen. It could happen. And it would be fine. I wouldn't stop the fight for that or anything. I mean, again, the way it works, maybe they find out you are doing it and then you have problems. We get thrown down there and you have to fight too. Stuff can happen. You have to be ready to improvise. But again, the important part at first is don't make it a normal ass fight in those cases because it's just too much overhead then. Like doubly and triply so if you play like a complex game like D&D, where if I had put a wizard in this fight in D&D, I would have had to give them like a spell list and then worry about what spells they spend and so on and so forth. Where really if you're playing a game like that, in my opinion, it is still fine to just be like, can I use a spell slot to have an effect happen? And then you say yes or no. Like, do you have something like that? If you want to hinder someone, would you have access to a web spell, for example?
Yep.
And then in D&D specifically, you would very quickly run into the problem that most spells are very obvious because they're so regulated, because we are talking about specifically like web is always like a big area of sticky stuff, right? So people would know what that is and would know someone had to cast it.
Yep. Like, as much as we dog on 5th edition, one of the things that they have improved over time is the how spells are coded. It's in the name often. Oh, it's web. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
So if I had a system like that, I would, for example, what I could have done is include a thing. Oh, there's a big crystal at the top, and each turn it's going to cast a random spell. These are not like offensive spells. These are just like spells that are meant to hinder or help someone in the fight, and they and you don't know exactly what they are. And then someone in the crowd could be like, "Hey, can I use detect magic on that thing? Can I figure out what it does?" And I'm like, "Yeah, here's the list of spells that it can cast. It's basically a random roll every turn." And then the player's like, "Well, I have from this list, I have Cure Wounds and I have Web. I don't know what kind of character class it is, but who cares?" So when it does a subtle spell at some point, like it gives someone aid or something, I can just cast web, and everyone thinks that web was cast by the thing, right? And then I'm like, yeah, actually, that's a good idea. Let's go. So that's the other big thing. Of course, you have to be open for players to use the tools you put there. But yeah, I have yapped a lot. Trek, do you want to yap a bit?
Of course. Yes, I do. So the other half of this is, how do I set up for doing unusual fight or making the unusual fight the standard? Because I think that's the other half of this discussion.
Oh yeah, it is.
The biggest problem with D&D Brain, I'm just going to call it D&D Brain because that's where a lot of this originates, is, oh, we need to have trash fights. No.
Yep.
Just no. Don't do this. Do this at all anymore.
One of the worst inventions ever, that they were in 5th edition, like, yeah, you should have 6 fights per day.
Yeah.
What?
No.
Do you know how long this would take?
It takes so long. And then in 4th edition, they did something very similar, except that it was slightly different in that they said you should have X number of encounters. I can't remember what it was. I think it was 4 encounters per day. I don't remember. But the point of that was have every encounter be something where you need to do something strategic, tactical, etc., because you have these encounter powers that you can only use once per encounter, etc.
Yes.
But think about all those things and then cast them aside for a moment, because we're not in the realm of daily powers, encounter powers, etc. We're in the realm of, hey, what make fight interesting? And the main thrust of what make fight interesting is, of course, stakes. There was the stakes in this one. We had to make sure this guy didn't die. But also the
Sorry, I laugh. Sorry to interrupt, but some of the party were not really on the same page on that. But that's okay.
That's fine. That's like, no, not everybody needs to be on the same page. Like that's part of the fun of the role play.
Yes.
Because they were invested in a different way. They wanted to see him die in one case, which was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
We figured it out.
Which to really just to cite that a little bit, especially because I know my players, right? I know Bruce, who was like, oh, that guy should die. I don't like him. Isn't actually going to, but kill him though. Bruce is just saying that because her character is a weird character for this kind of setting, a little bit. Undead princess. So she's gonna have weird views, and Bruce gonna play those. And then I'm not worried here as DM that Bruce is going to throw a big necrotic spell and kill everyone in the arena because the guy she thought should die didn't die or something. I'm just like, yeah, okay, Bruce wants to roleplay that moment a bit. It's cool. She's not going to murder that guy. I'm not worried about it as DM. That's important. Don't worry about character motivations too much unless the actual players act in bad ways. Because roleplay, like, this is something that many computer games, for example, get wrong. For example, the first Pathfinder game, the first modern one, you would gain and lose points to your alignment by saying shit. By saying, oh, I'm gonna rob you. Like, firstly, why would you ever say that? But secondly, it would give you chaotic points to say that, or evil points or something. Like, kind of depending on who you were robbing. This is a simplified example, of course. Which is stupid. Saying shit is saying shit. Doing shit is what gives you the alignment. Saying I'm gonna murder you, okay, that's maybe 1 point of evil. You're scaring somebody. But the game would give you like 10 points. Because, oh no, your intention is that. Because you told me that. No, maybe I'm fucking lying. Like, take it into account. And that's what you have to do as DM as well. Players are going to roleplay their character, but they're not actually going to do every action they say they might want to do. Like, if I play Zarifa in this campaign, I'm going to talk about stabbing people a lot. Is Zarifa actually stabbed anybody yet? They're only bad people.
Only bad people. Anyway, so what my point was is that investment, and sometimes investment comes at a right angle or a left angle, because that's the thing. We have an idea for why somebody should be invested in a scene, but a good player will take the scene and then figure out what their investment should be for it. I've encountered a lot of people over the years who just like, I don't know why I'm here. I'm just like, just come up with a reason. It doesn't matter what it is. Maybe you're here because you like watching arena fights. Maybe you were a wrestler in your past. Maybe you this, maybe that.
Yeah.
There's so many reasons why you would want to be in a thing. And if the response is just throw up your hands and go, I don't know why I'd be here at all. Cool. I don't know what to tell you. We got a game to play.
Yes.
But these unusual fights, once they become more and more common in your games, it becomes easier for people to figure out what their motivation is for participating in it.
Yes.
Because sometimes there's going to be a game of chance that comes up rather than a traditional I'm going to punch you. So it's becomes something about outwitting people, and then that might engage the person who has the high intelligence score.
And this is again something where you can put the clock, like you win the big card game. Like, how do you win the big card game? Well, we're going to figure it out now. Like, I guess you're going to have to roll this and that, and then there's 5 opponents, and each one you kick out of the game, or each one who leaves the game is going to advance this clock. So, what between your actions would you like to do? If you bluff, do you bluff when opponent A is like seems strong to you? Do you bluff when that opponent feels weak to you? So on and so forth, right? And that's why clocks are such a good tool. Like, they're the best tool ever. Because I can be like, oh, you're having a big arena fight? Well, the guard appears. The guard has been called. 4 slice. Oh shit, the guard's appearing. And then, the fight, this fight round is over. Fuck, we have 3 rounds until the guards are here. Grab the guy from the thing. We don't care anymore. We have to get out of here, right? Suddenly, the whole nature of the encounter changes by you just introducing this. And the cool thing about clocks in that case is, if I just say, well, someone comes in and shouts, the guard's gonna appear. There's no clock. Then you aren't giving the players the information to know how urgent it actually is. Because look at, like, if I do the guard appears as a 16 slot thing, that feels a lot less urgent than a 4 slot thing, right? Yeah, the guard's gonna appear, lol. Yeah, sure, they're gonna appear soon. Yeah, any minute now. Oh, actually, they're here. Like, fuck, I realized the clocks I'm adding are behind my head. Fuck. You know what? For the purposes of this, I'm just gonna move myself here. Because most of the stuff that goes on is actually where I'm sitting. Anyway. Also, every time I type, again, my stuff vanishes. It's funny. I really have to change the buttons for that. I really do. Yeah, I'm a little gremlin. Yeah. Also, to say this real quick, since people have been commenting about it quite a bit. Yes, since the release timer is 0, I changed to this PNG for now. The Noria model isn't gone or anything. Don't worry. I just felt like at the 0 mark, and maybe for the next week or so, we have to use something. And then the next official model that's going to have some lore attached and some new stuff is going to be in April.
Yep.
Announcement, I'll try to make it tomorrow. I don't know if I can. Maybe it's next week tomorrow. Who knows? Okay, but back to this. But yeah, that's the next thing. If I say, the god appears, you know? Yeah. Or a fire exclamation mark. Like, now we have the clock here. Filling it is bad. Maybe we can fight the fire though. Maybe if someone casts a water spell, we can like make it actually go away. Who knows? And having these here, having clocks in general, You can always have them, even like a physical game. You can draw a clock. You can put a dice down that starts at a 1 and counts up to a 10. And if it's a 10, bad thing happens. Any amount of shit can happen, right? Then what was I gonna? I kind of lost my train. But yeah, you can change the nature of anything easily by adding a new element and making it visible. And also any encounter can and should probably start with something that's interesting. Because if your encounter is there is a 10 by 10 room and there's 4 orcs in there, you fight them now. That's boring, in case you didn't know.
Very boring. Yep. There's a thing with acting classes and stage direction and so many other things. And this goes back to what I already said, but this is very important also, no matter the encounter. What's my motivation?
Yes.
And if you as the DM can't answer that question, if the players can't answer the question, why are we fighting the orcs today? Why?
Yes.
It's very boring. And I get it if we want to have a situation where we want to be testing out the combat system. Part of testing out the combat system is pushing it to the limit. Throw some clocks in there immediately then.
Yes, exactly. So what can we do to a normal fight to make it more interesting? Well, let's just say the orcs are in a slightly bigger room. And in the back there's a 5th orc who's gonna sacrifice the maiden. And every turn we take that up by 1 as the orc with the dagger starts saying his incantations and is gonna ready to plunge the dagger into the maiden's heart. Someone's gonna go and fucking fuck up that orc, please.
Yep.
And if not, bad things might happen, you know? Find it interesting. And in a meta way, we are attacking the castle of the bad guy. The Great Ritual. 12 slot. 12 clock. Yeah. And then you tick that over. Like, not every combat turn, but every, like, larger thing that happens is a tick in this. So fighting the orcs is a tick. So then, now the question is, do we fight the orcs? Can we afford the time? And it's the quickest way, but if we go around, it's going to take way longer. Are you sure? Did we scout everything? We don't have time to scout everything. Discussion happens. Interesting. People are engaged. Where before it's just like, it's orcs in a room. Let's go. I am hitting them for 12 damage. Now it's like, do we even fight them? Do we have time? Way more interesting. Immediately.
Yep.
And of course,
anything that eliminates it from being trash.
Yeah. And of course, like with this stuff, somebody would have to tell the party that the Great Ritual is happening or something. Or it could even be worth just putting it there, even if the party doesn't know, technically.
Yeah.
Because then they might figure out ways, because your players are in this to have fun, right? If you put this clock here without the players knowing a ritual is even taking place, a bad player might be like, there is a ritual happening, we should hurry. But a good player might be like, listen, these guys are bad news, I have a bad feeling about this, we should hurry. We can't afford to fight these orcs, I have a bad feeling about this. Right. Or, hey GM, is there anything I know about, like, this place or this area, or like maybe like in magical terms that's pertinent to what we are doing right now, like since we're here? And then they can roll on them, like, well, you know that on a full moon there's like in the past there has been rituals about to do with undeath, blah blah blah. And then the player's like, when's the full moon? It happens to be today. Oh fuck, oh no, let's go, let's hurry. That's why they have the people. That's why they took away the farmers that we are looking for. Whatever the fuck, you know? Putting a clock or putting several clocks helps with the stakes. And I'm currently myself not using them enough still, because it is also, I have to wrap my mind around these.
Yeah, you do. Like, it's something that you have to keep doing to develop a habit with. It's of those things. Like, I know that when I run World of Darkness again, they will be front and center. Period. That's it. They're going to be there all the time. And the reason why they're going to be there all the time is because it works. It works with any system. Any. Doesn't matter what system you're running, it's going to work with it. If you're going to be running Call of Cthulhu, especially, is very useful. Horror games live and breathe on this now, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because it's a visual representation of drama.
Yeah. Another very good clock is this one. And then each session, one pile gets filled. Like, what's going to happen in 15 sessions? Oh my fucking God.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they're going to be motivated. Like, if the campaign, let's say it's a Cthulhu campaign, and this is about, well, there's a weird cult. Well, what do they want? It's a thing that you would always want to find out. But if the players see, well, whatever they want is probably that clock, right? We don't know yet. But it's probably that on account of that clock's there. You should probably care about this. Yeah, you should probably care about this, and good luck. And the funniest part about a clock like this is that you yourself don't even have to know at the start of the game what it's for.
Exactly. That's the other thing about all of this that's so important, is that you don't know sometimes as DM, but you still want to create the sense of drama. So it's totally fine to do it like this. It's totally fine. You don't have to know everything at the start either as DM. And I think that's one of the things that, like, people think that there is a you had this idea from the start, and it's not always the case. Sometimes we have an inkling, but not everything's figured out. That's for sure.
Like, I have so often, I when I start a campaign, I do not know what the ultimate goal of the bad guy is a lot of the time. Or more likely, even if I know, I don't know the path to that goal yet, because you are over preparing if you know that, honestly. But also constant or repeated time pressure might wear on your players too. Well, okay, here's the thing, right? You are correct. It shouldn't always be a time pressure thing. The time pressure thing works like during a fight to give a secondary objective. Something bad will happen unless we stop these guys. That we are already in a time pressure thing. If we don't defeat these orcs, we might just die, right? That's kind of, in a way, that's time pressure. Or in another way to phrase it, it doesn't really lower the pressure if we add the time, because we're already in a fight to the death with the orcs. But a clock like this, which is like, once per session we count up one slice, that is not really so much time pressure. Like, if we are eventually here, that's time pressure. But if we are still at the start of this, then it's like, fuck, we have like 14 more sessions to figure it out. That's not pressure. I'm sorry, it's just not. It's just like a thing. And then if by session 4 we are like, okay, the Awaken the Great One, right? They know what it is now. Is it gonna meaningfully change the decision making that they know versus not know? Not really, because it's like, just like, okay, this is their goal, and we have to stop them. How do we do that? Now you can reduce the clock actively as a player by, these cultists, we interrupted their ritual. They can't awaken the Great One if they don't have the book that we just stole. Are we going to burn it? Oh, it doesn't burn? Fuck, we have to hide it somewhere. Stuff flows from this in a good way. And then you can also have clocks on screen that are like the solve the mystery. Obviously, this is a meta clock, right? And you shouldn't probably call your clock exactly this. But if you have like the murder mystery plot and you start with this clock empty, People are knowing, okay, this is going to be kind of complex. We might be here a while. As if this mystery is 4 slices, maybe we wouldn't, right? And then you can be solve the butler's murder. And that's easier. And then solving the butler's murder suddenly adds 2 slices here. And stuff like that. You can be very creative with these. And then the funniest part might be they might have solved the butler's murder wrong. But they don't know that.
Yep. Yep. That's another part of this. Disco Elysium is a great example of how you can solve things wrong.
Yeah.
But the thing to keep in mind, and the reason why I emphasize the drama part, these most people assume when they hear the word clock that it's literally supposed to represent time as well. No. The original title for this was progress clocks.
Yes.
The idea of something progressing either towards a goal, an event, something. And the idea of it being progression, quote unquote, is very, very important because these clocks are also used for building a new car. That's like very mundane, but that's what you do. Like, I'll use Shadowrun as the example. Yes, it's an extended test, and then you can represent that extended test's progress by putting a clock up on screen. Easy peasy.
Yep.
It's really not that complicated.
Yep.
And then also there's other things like sometimes progress is measured in the 6 things that need to happen, but you don't know what those 6 things are. So the DM will just fill a piece of the pie every time one of the things happens. And then the players are surprised. Oh, I didn't realize that was important to solving this mystery. Well, it was.
Yeah.
And you'll find out the other 5 things. Go wild, guys.
It is a way to keep your players kind of informed that they are making progress in a lot of cases.
Yes.
because
it serves the opposite purpose. It makes you feel like, oh, I'm actually doing something worthwhile. Thanks, DM.
Yeah. Because it can sometimes in games feel like you are just spinning your wheels, meandering around, not doing anything. And some players don't like that because they like to feel they're making progress. And then those players might be like, we have to do something, guys. We have to do the thing I think is going to progress the plot. And then another player's like, but I don't want to do that. And then there's they're going to go loggerheads about it. That can still happen with clocks, of course, but at least if suddenly the solve the mystery clock gets 2 more slices because somebody said, but what if it's all to do with the labyrinth outside? And then the GM just clicks 2 of these. Then the party's going like, whoa, what the fuck? You did it. That's a good idea. Let's go. Because the players have been informed that yes, your guess is kind of correct, right? But then obviously they don't know in what way. So then they're standing in the labyrinth like, fuck, what are we here for exactly? Well, I said it's important. I don't know how though. Like people couldn't have really gone. I don't know the details. I don't know whatever the fuck is going on in your game, right? But the players know that they're on the right track. Because in the past, when I ran, for example, Shadowrun, there was a larger plot of solve this mystery. Players would often, while they're making progress towards the solving of the mystery, feel like they were spinning their wheels, not doing anything, and they would say it felt bad in the moment. In retrospect, then, when they actually end up solving it and the thing they did 3 hours ago ended up being important, that feels good. Then, when they know. But at the time they didn't know. So at the time it might have been, might have been like in the head, man, this is a distraction. This is useless. We shouldn't be here. But if you fill that clock thing by 1 slice, they know it's important. They know it's progress. So they are going to be more happy to be there. Right? Like in retrospect, for example, in this game, I should have put a clock up for the boating thing, and filled it instead of making a map where they where they ride around on and find it eventually on the map. Both of those measure progress, but the clock would have been nicer because the map didn't end up really mattering that much. I put some stuff on it, but since everyone was on the case of going, just knowing, okay, we kind of have to go east to find this whale. We were just going to go east and ignore the stuff. But if it's like, well, where do you go? And there's this ruin here. Maybe there's stuff there. They've blah, blah, blah. You could have a different kind of story to tell, almost. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the map wound up being just a visual aid.
Yes.
And sometimes that's what we want. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that's not what we want. But, like, it's nice for people to look at. And, you know, like, it's very easy to go back and go, well, this could have been a clock instead. Yes, but, you know, maybe our supplies could have been a clock. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Should have been.
Like, it's still something new that we're both incorporating into what we do. And as a result, there will always be something that we're like, man, oh, I could have just clocked that. Oh, I could have just done that. Oh, I could have. And people will have ideas that they give to us as well over time for better ways to use this, for additional ways to use this, creative ways to use this. It's just one of those things. The only thing that Blades in the Dark did right.
Yeah.
Which still sounds funny when I say it out loud, but yeah, it's just one of those things. Making your encounters different. Also, making the focal point something different is important as well. Most traditional fights in most games is down the other opponent. In a World of Darkness thing, it is stake the vampire often. Sometimes it's deal with the ritual the mage is doing. Do this thing before this werewolf sidesteps into the Umbra. There's so many things like that that are just, we have to do this now, and we have to do it well. If you want to go more Born identity, oh, I found this guy in this room that I'm investigating. I have to kill him before witnesses come in. Like, some sense of drama where the failure isn't so extreme that your characters are just like, or your players are just like, man, this sucks. We never win. Instead, it's still like Born Identity example. You still get the guy. It's just that you got discovered getting the guy, which is fine. Then you have another interesting scenario, maybe a chase scene that emerges from that. And all of this benefits from and then roleplay versus here is a contained scene that's not going to connect any other scenes, when really it should be an and then. The best example of this from Neon Blood was my OL. I'm going to extend myself as much as possible. I'm going to let myself get hungry. I don't care. I'm going to just like really, wait. I'm not going to busy myself with that. And then it was, oh, you've got your big day with your new mob friends and your hunger's at 4. Instant drama, because what's hunger but a clock that when it gets 5 you go crazy.
Honestly, if in Vampire just had like Elliot hunger as like the clock of 5, right? Just have it there, and then as it fills, because other vampires can kind of tell, right, if you are the jonesing for the blood. We all they have an addiction they all share, so knowing that Elliot is at 3 hunger, Elliot's not looking great right now. That's good. That's a really good one.
It also ties into the theme I was going with Alcoholics Anonymous that they were all attending, because what are we all addicted to? Blood. So we're all trying to look out for each other and be sponsors for each other. And so having those on screen full time would have reinforced that even harder, that theme. But yes, like was the best example of and then play, because then they had to feed before they went and met their new mob friends. They had to. And then it turned out really messy, but in a fun way that made it for an interesting scene, rather than it being messy, oh no, I fucked up. Instead, it was all player choices, all of them, start to finish. That informed everything. That's why the movies that have like really low stakes, but all the fuck ups are because of the characters themselves causing the stakes to get raised. All those are amazing movies for one reason, because then the drama is self-inflicted. It's more interesting as you go. Like, that's why character motivations, if they're too perfect, then they wind up being very boring, because where is the oopsie along the way that can lead to a conflict in an arena? We need those oopsies, because the oopsies cause more growth than the I won without any problem. Cool.
Yep, absolutely.
Like, does your character really feel like they won then? No, of course not.
Yeah.
They feel like they won because there's a pile of bodies underneath them that tried to kill them. Like,
yeah, which is also, to get back to that, why the 6 fights per day thing did absolutely not work, and it's baffling to me that someone who knows D&D would put it into D&D. That's the thing they want to have.
Me too.
Because the fights were supposed to be easy individually and just sap some resources every time, right? You take some damage from the orcs, so the priest has to cast a spell. The mage used like 2 spells, and you used like your second wind or something during the fight. So now you don't have those for the next fight, and then the next fight. And then in fight number 6, you're actually tapped, and it's very intense because no one has resources and you have to make do. Yeah, but just create that situation without the 5 fights beforehand, guys. How about that?
That's the big thing. It's just so artificial, because real people don't manage the resources that way.
Yeah.
We just don't. Like, you talk to anybody who has survived in the wild, especially for an extended period of time, they will say, yeah, well, this moment was dicey, but it was just because I overextended myself. That's the only reason why. So the practical outcome then is when we play this game, of course you're going to burn up all your resources, and then you're going to rest. Of course you're going to do that.
Which is also like the problem with that too in D&D was that after like the third or fourth fight, people would be like, maybe you should rest, I'm kind of tapped. And then the DM says like, oh, I have 2 more fights planned, oh no. What do I do?
My precious setup that I had. Yeah.
But if you rest, you're good. The townspeople are going to die. Yeah, but if we die rescuing the townspeople, then we die.
Exactly.
And yeah, that's why that never worked. Never worked. But if there's just a clock on scene, right? Again, like the townspeople die, and then it has like 12 slices. But every time you transition a scene, it fills 1. And you rested once and it filled 1. But then you had like the orc fight, and then you looked around the area, and then so on and so forth. And now you're here. You're gonna ask yourself, can we rest?
Yep.
Resting is gonna fill one of these. It's filled 1 last time. Yep. So if we rest, can we find these fuckers in 2 more scenes and then solve the problem? Or not?
Exactly.
Yep.
And that's why the clock works. Like, if you want to do rests, have clocks be involved, and then you can have all right, but if you guys take a nap, it's going to fill up 2 segments. You can do that. Then it's fun. Then it's drama. Then it's choices. And I think that's the biggest part of all, is like, this improves player choice. Improves it immediately.
And to be clear, as a player, obviously you shouldn't sit there and talk about the 3 pie slices that are left. You should be like, guys, it's been so long already, we don't have time to rest. Like, we have to take this, we have to absolutely take this risk. We have to go now. We have to find it. I think they are just beyond this door. Let's just fucking go. If we are low on resources, we're going to make do, but we have to save these people. Right? And then if you find them here, the fight's hard, someone's going to say, we should have fucking rested. We would have had time to do the rest because this was how it was. And then the player's like, we didn't know though. It is very close, having 10 out of 12 filled. So I think it's still better we didn't rest because we didn't know for sure we would be here. And then both of these people are right. But both of those people are also engaged with the game in a way they wouldn't otherwise have been. And that's always a good thing.
Exactly.
So use clocks and think about how to add them. And again, and not always necessarily make them visible. Like I said, in this fight, I used clocks for HP. In a way, like the big hits, small hit, very big hit kind of way.
Yep.
If you show too many clocks, eventually it becomes overwhelming. People stop caring.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes.
Yep. And to kind of put a little bow on it, part of the reason why this works is because it's very board game brain to a degree. If anybody played the old Trivial Pursuit and how you had the little pie pieces that you fill up your little wheels with, there you go. It's visual indicator. People also like the idea of things that can be put out in front of you that you technically don't touch and interact with, but you do quote unquote interact with. And that's why a lot of people like to use cards for things. That's why people like maps. It's not that there is a visual. There is a visual that your decisions, your actions, your character does something with, versus miniatures, which you technically don't do much with at all except move them around. And that's one of those things that is a different thing, because the miniature is a representation of you rather than a thing that you actually genuinely interact with directly. And you can do the same thing with almost anything, but clocks are clocks. You could do a ladder, sure. You could do sliding scale, like I can't remember. One of the games we reviewed had character sheets where you put a paper clip on the outside of it and then slide it around to indicate where your HP is. You can do stuff like that, but that's still doing something. It's still a thing you interact with to do a thing.
In my opinion, the reason clocks are so nice is because the circle represents the least area you can put something and still make it make sense.
Yep.
Because if you put these on a horizontal track, each of them, they're different height. That's bad. That's bad for visual.
That is bad.
If you put visual, and these just don't take up much room. They're nice, and you can easily draw a circle and just cut it into pieces by just drawing lines through it, right? Which is why the 5 is kind of unusual. Normally you would have 4 or 6, because the 4 is just making a plus in the circle, and 6 is making an egg, making one more line. And it doesn't even have to be, if you draw them in real life during a game on a piece of paper, or on a if you have stolen a whiteboard from work, like I have, on the whiteboard, then you just, it doesn't even have to be, these slices are very neatly the same size. Who fucking cares? You can see it's 6 slices and I filled 3 of them out with color. So half of them are left. If that's not quite half of the circle, who cares? You can see how many slices there are. We can count. Which is again why these also are past 12. They kind of break down. Like this 16, it's a bit hard to read already. Like this is a 10 and 12, in my opinion, is kind of where it's enough. More than that is hard to abstract. At that point, a counter probably works better. But that's also, if you have a counter of in 24 sessions something is happening, then the chances are higher that your game falls apart before then than that you get to that 24th session and something happens. Yeah. So who cares?
That's that goes back to what we were saying about long-term planning.
Yeah.
Just there's plenty of things that you just don't, because Okay, I'm going to say 90% of the fun of the game for me is what the players end up doing because of the thing that's in front of them.
Yes.
And if player doesn't want to do anything, then it tells me I have not provided something interesting enough to interact with. So if somebody just constantly is indecisive, did I give you too many options? Did I give you too few? Is it too hard? What's going on here?
Yeah.
I ask those questions, and I get very self-reflective.
Yep.
But long term, you don't. If you have too much long term going on, that will inevitably constantly happen.
Yes, you should have.
And then the game will end.
Maybe 1 or 2 long terms, at most. And again, like if you have stuff like the question mark, something's gonna happen thing, and you have like 3 sessions, so it's 3 filled, and then the players do something, and suddenly this happens. It's gonna be, oh fuck!
Yeah.
What the hell? The thing we don't know is gonna happen way sooner now.
Yep.
And that's cool. That's just a cool moment where then the players like, we really need to figure out what this is. Didn't you have the book we couldn't read? Maybe it's in there. We should really find a guy to read that book. So it's a way for you to re-rail your game towards the thing you want to happen. Because again, this is also something we have said on this show before. Obviously, any game you run, even if it's like a sandbox, is going to have things you thought about that should happen. And technically, if you make it happen, that's railroading, right? The trick is always to have the players want it to happen or want to stop it or whatever, so that everyone is on the same page and trying to get it solved, trying to get progress in that thing, whatever it might be. And then it's not railroading because the players want to be there. And then it's just you there just on the train along for the ride, being hype about where we are going, which is great. Which is why I don't like the term railroading that much for this.
Yeah.
Because, you can make a complete sandbox in which the players can be free to do whatever. But unless there's interesting things to do and discover and happen, which always necessitates antagonists, it necessitates other people's goals that conflict and that lead to issues and problems, and you have to make that stuff up. Otherwise, the sandbox is just a town that you walk through, and then you buy some stuff from the blacksmith, and then you don't know what else to do because you don't know what should happen next.
Yep. Like, this is something that I haven't said in a long time, but I think the first time I said it was before the latest iteration of this. Do you want to have Westworld, or do you want to have a fully realized world?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to just have androids going around going, yes, I am the blacksmith, please buy my products with no further investment? Mm-hmm. Or do you want it to not be, oh my goodness, everything's a hologram?
Yep.
Like, take the moment to have the blacksmith be unhappy because of something. Take the moment to make the mayor way too happy to see that their mercenary is here. Like, have those things, even if the players decide not to act on them.
Yeah.
Because it will make your world better.
Yeah.
And then, like, wow, this is dark. But let's say that happens. Let's say you encounter the blacksmith and you notice that he's sad. And then your characters basically, the players basically don't react to it. Okay. And then halfway through the session, one of the players goes, wait, why is there a 6 segment clock that says blacksmith's grief? What does this mean, DM? And then suddenly it is a very, very artificial and sometimes a little too jerk around way of making somebody care. But at the same time, it also helps point out something that everybody thought, maybe I should just overlook that. Maybe I don't have time for that. And then reorients, that's the word I'm looking for. It reorients people a little bit to realize, oh, this wasn't just an NPC that you just made sad because you're funny.
Yeah, just putting it on there might make somebody care. And if they don't, well, that plot thread can come back or whatever. It's not the end of the world if they don't interact. But they might, and then that's good because that's an adventure you wrote, or a vignette you wrote, or whatever it might be.
And this is also part of the, hey, it wrote itself. Because maybe you don't even know why the blacksmith is sad yet as the DM. Maybe you just made him sad. Then you realize, okay. This could be a fun little side quest. Who knows?
Yep.
Let's go from there.
We have been on a 30-minute tangent about clocks though now. Let's talk about non-standard encounters a little bit more.
Yeah.
Obviously the clocks are part of that because creating goals and creating the curveballs is a good. Clocks are a good way to do that.
Yep.
But the thing that really ends up being important when you do the non-standard thing is make it easy for yourself. Make sure and if you want to have again the random arena fight, then make it so that you can within 1 minute or less know the outcome of the round for all NPCs. If that means actually you don't roll any dice and you just make shit up, so be it. As long as the player character's actions are adjudicated in the rules, that's cool. I always use a bit of that during even scenes where I have adjudicated via rolling. I said before, they all got their dice pools and then I roll against 10 or against the defense, and then if they roll well, it's more damage, blah blah blah. But let's say at one point in yesterday's encounter, Willow had fallen into one of the tar pits in the arena, or sand pits, quicksand pits. She was not going to fight that round, so I didn't roll for her. I just described where she's holding on, pulling herself out. Okay, cool. That's what she does. So that means Tommy doesn't have an opponent. So what does Tommy do? Tommy hits somebody else, fucks him up. And there we are. But you could just do that for the whole fight. You could just not roll dice and just describe things. Because NPC on NPC, yeah, you can just decide. It's just the DM. This is it's only important if it affects the players. And yeah, to say it again, Yashko, since my release timer is at 0, I'm using this model for a bit. We're gonna have, it's gonna not be the end of the cat, because I love the cat.
The cat is good.
Yeah, but I had this in my pocket for 2 months and I haven't used it yet, so it felt very cool to use this today. And hey, who knows? I'm not a funny J right now? Question mark? Wink, wink. Who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
We'll find out soon.
Yeah. Anyway, you can make it easy for you in any game system by abstracting stuff out. Like I said, in D&D, just don't add all the modifiers to it. Just think about, well, Tommy is a big guy. If he rolls a strength roll, he's going to make it if he rolls a 5 or more. Just do it. It's quick. Is it exactly within the rules? Technically, maybe not. Who fucking cares? Just do it. Just have a way to adjudicate it. So long as you say, well, the other guys are gonna have to roll 8s or 9th or 10th to get the same result as Tommy, you're fine, because you've made the random number generator weighted now. So there you go.
Exactly. Yep. One thing that has come up often in games is, how can I make hacking dramatic for an encounter?
Yeah.
That comes up so many times. And of course, as people who have, you've dealt with it way more than I have, but people who have dealt with having to code things, usually the reality is that you're swearing and then taking another drink of a caffeinated beverage and going back to it. But when you do something like Shadowrun, where somebody can hack with their brain lightning fast, suddenly you can do something a little more dramatic with it.
Yeah.
And of course, clocks are the answer. But then also, when you have the weird, complex cyberpunk computer systems, having it have a reaction immediately, like they do in the movies, serves your drama well. Even if we know that usually it doesn't actually work that way. Like the lights don't immediately turn red because I accessed this part of the code.
Yeah.
That isn't how it actually works for reals.
Yeah, like if I think about it, how would I run a Shadowrun hacking encounter with clocks? So Shadowrun hacking usually has a few phases. The first phase is preparation, where you try to get in the host without raising an alarm. That's essentially just an extended clock, right? So you would be like intrusion. And the size of that clock is probably at 12 or something, because it's a big server, right? And then if that fills, and depending how quickly it fills, you get the clock that is on the inside of it. Like, alarm. That clock might also be at 12, but depending how long you took, might already be filled partly because the intrusion took time.
Yep.
Right? And then, we want to steal the data. Well, find the data. Which is going to be a 6, for example. And so now, as we do actions to find data, the alarm is going to fill. And in this way, you could at least have it happen at the same time as other things that are going on with the problem of we have one character over there doing their own little mini game remains, because again, in the case of this arena fight we had, everyone could have jumped in at this fight at any point. Like, who's going to stop them? Some goons, maybe, but they could have done it. They could have done huge interference. They didn't choose to, but they could have. And I don't know that in advance, but there's the option. But in decking in Shadowrun, usually you're just standing there like, man, that guy might fry his brain doing this.
Yeah.
And I couldn't help because my skills are shit in hacking. Like, I can't even go. It's just why when Raku shut down, one of my favorite adventures to read is not a great adventure to run because they want you to go into the host at one point. And that's bad because you're going into the UV actual AI host as some sort of semi. No thanks. Like, I'm just going to be useless in there. What am I going to do? And anyway, you can use clocks for many things. Shadowrun basically comes with them from extended tests.
Yep, exactly.
Shadowrun also, in the way it works, kind of, you could abstract Shadowrun to clocks pretty easily. And that's nice, because that means you have easy ways to make it have stakes. Because and some clocks, oftentimes clocks that exist are implied. Like, for example, do the guards raise the alarm?
Yeah, that's the biggest one. That's the most important one that comes up in every single genre. And
there could be a thing where you describe a guard making moves for the alarm. And they're almost there and stuff, sure. But if just the process of fighting them raises the alarm clock also, and then maybe it raises further even after you win, because how do we hide that these guards are down? Stuff like that, makes it interesting. Makes it more interesting than just suddenly the alarm goes off 30 minutes after you got the guards, because I decided that now is the time. Because the implication of the clock is always that the players can interact with it.
Yep.
Either directly or indirectly, or Yep.
It informs a thing, an activity immediately, and that's one of the biggest things with just tabletop role playing in general, is being able to inform through a form of shorthand, like presenting a clock or something. Super strong, and that's why, again, having games like Shadowrun, especially the older editions with their hacky mini games, being able to simplify it to a clock thing so that then the hacker player never has to explain to the street samurai, I need 3 more minutes. Instead, it's right there.
Yeah.
Like there's a visual representation.
Yeah.
And then the player can interact with the street samurai and say it, but then also the visual shorthand exists for the street samurai player to look at it and go, oh shit, man, this guy needs quite a bit more time.
Yeah.
So I got to kill more guys.
Yeah. Or be like, hey, I know I can't hack, but is there a way like to help you? And then the hack is like, because you are them is like, yeah, that's nice. I like the idea of teamwork. Yeah, you could cut the main line because the other hacker that's stopping me here is coming from the outside. So if I'm in the complex. So if you cut the internet somehow, then I can work way faster.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
Then that's again probably something you didn't think of beforehand necessarily.
But as a street samurai, yeah,
it might come up in the moment, and then it's a cool idea that we add together, and then it makes the adventure more interesting.
Yep, exactly.
Because even if you can't directly interact with the clock necessarily, there might be ways. Again, I was thinking about L yesterday, being like, well, I would like one of these big logs that are hanging from the ropes to fall down, and then just paying a meta point for it. Meta currency point. Like in Shadowrun, I might allow someone to spend edge to do that. Why not? It's the same thing.
It is basically, yeah. That's actually a really good point. And having edge be used even more often for that than just for rerolls.
Yeah.
Food for thought.
Actually, in Yashko, I want to point what you said here. Have them install a Microsoft game on a Linux PC, and if it works, then you succeeded. There can be value in engaging your players with like an out of game prop like that. Probably not what you said, but being like, okay, guys, you have to solve the puzzle. I described it as a bunch of tiles that are out of order that you have to like slot in the correct place in this thing to make the mechanism stop, right? Okay, here's this 100-piece puzzle of Donald Duck. Please solve it for me. You have 5 minutes. You better believe that your party is going to suddenly become very interested in solving that motherfucking stupid child's puzzle you had laying around.
Yep. That's so good.
Absolutely not something you should overdo. It's not something you should do every time. But as a gimmick, it's really strong. Like that's the thing you can have in your pocket for one time in your campaign.
Yeah.
But when you do it, it's going to be impactful.
It's interesting because the game War Tales decided to do something similar. But in the tombs, the catacombs that you can raid for resources and recipes and so on, they have little pictograms that are puzzles that you have to solve. That it's like a 3x3 of tiles, and there's one tile missing, and you just need to slide the tiles around until it forms a picture. It's basic shit like that. Does so much for gameplay in that sense, but then also in the tabletop sense. Well, all right. Well, once in a while, you guys are going to have to do this. Yep. Like every 10th session.
Here's one thing I want to point out about that as well, real quick. This can also work, but I don't think it is as clean. Is DM being like, well, the ceiling starts to come down towards you, and then they put the alarm clock out for 10 minutes or something. You have 10 minutes on the table to solve this problem. I don't like, because you are mixing player interaction with the game, which is like, can I roll strength to stop the roof from coming down? And then someone has to roll strength and stuff, and that takes time. Versus the pure interaction of the game as a representation of what your character is doing in the game. in my opinion, they need to be separated because, again, if I'm putting the clock there and then we have a 3-minute discussion about rules because something was unclear and I have to go back and explain how it works and what I want the scene to be like, then the sand has already trickled down for a little bit and we all have less time now. And it isn't realistic in the first place that we would have spent that time in the game, right? So don't put them together as divorce them, which is why clocks are so nice because you can just fill them at any point.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
you can have the 10-segment clock representing 10 minutes in game very easily.
Exactly. The ceiling's coming down and then the clock is like 6 slices long. You kind of know it's urgent. But you also know that if you do one thing now that doesn't work, it's only going to fill 1 slice of that clock. So we can try something as the first thing, maybe a long shot. But if it works, we suddenly solve this clock immediately. You know? Can I wedge this thing in the mechanism? Like I hear the chains in the wall. It's just there like a hole in the wall I can look into and then do something with those chains, for example. Like, yeah, maybe there's roll a check. Well, the check isn't high enough, so you know those chains are there, but you didn't do it. And then, but because we talked about them, now the barbarian is gonna just like use this big hammer to hit the wall until there is a hole, and then we can go back to it. Yeah, right? Not that then.
Yes.
But the time you take to discuss that maybe the barbarian should do that, and the time you take to discuss that that there might be the chains and so on and so forth shouldn't be time, real world time that actually costs you like chance of progression, basically. Yeah. Which is again why the abstraction of the clock is so nice.
Oh yeah, it's super nice.
Yeah. Okay. We have time about clocks. Do we have anything else about non-standard encounters that we want to add?
You know, not that I can think of, because all the other things that I can possibly think of is when we get into how we do mass combat or things like that. I don't want to really get into that because that's a different conversation, I think. Because it's more impersonal.
Yeah, in my opinion, the way you do mass combat is to abstract it completely.
Yep. Completely.
Just don't.
Yeah, exactly. If you abstract it, then it's still personal on some level. If you don't abstract it, then it is about 50 guys named Steve that you don't care about getting killed. And nothing ruins the story like introducing hey, you have to interact with this thing that you really don't care about.
Yeah, so. That is so true. Okay. Yep. Well, I think that's the show then.
Yeah, that is quite a show. Quite a show.
Okay.
As they say.
Anything to plug, Drake?
Not that I can think of. Just Fabulous Ultima next Friday.
Yeah.
We're doing it next Friday, 2 more Fridays, right? And then we're going to pause.
We have to 1 week pause, I think. Yeah. Then we do it again. Yeah, next week, Friday, definitely Fabulous Ultima, 28th. For everybody, to say it again, in, let's see, we have 1, 2, just count days.
Yeah, you've got some things way ahead to advance. So.
Towards the tail end of April, from the 21st to the 26th or 7th, depending, because my vacation ends, I'm going to debut my new model, which Yasha is still working on right now. Well, maybe not right now, but you know what I mean. There's going to be a big event week again, as usual.
That'll be great.
I'm going to... I have to do some more planning on my end, and I'm going to announce it soon. Ideally with some sort of teaser we have to make, blah, blah, blah. You know how it goes. Look forward to that. I might use this model for the next few streams, especially if it's like demanding in a graphics way, because this is obviously way less graphically demanding than doing a 3D model.
Yeah.
And the cat is still going to be there. Don't worry about that. Who knows? We're going to have new model then, blah blah blah. It's gonna be an event. That's what I want to say. On Monday, I will be on Kamigala's anniversary, so I'm not in the usual Monday collab, but that's still happening with the others, as far as I know. Doing something or other. With Weigel, Sinan, and Drake, do something.
I might make them work in a kitchen. Who knows?
Yeah, that would be. Oh, that would be. Oh, I want to see Weigels do that. Fuck. And on Monday, I'll also have a schedule out again, as usual. Yeah.
Yep. I'll do a bunch of solo streams next week. Maybe an impromptu collab or two. Some people need to get back to me, so we'll see.
We had a Thursday. We have planned Thursday thing as well, don't we? We want to play Northgard.
Thursday Northgard. Yeah, that's right.
Because Sana is into it, and that's great. We love it.
Yeah, I have to see it. Love to see it. Northgard is still a good game. It's just question mark netcode. So if the netcode fails on us, we will do something where the netcode won't fail.
Something else, yeah. It's gonna be okay.
Yeah, it'll work out good.
Let's see.
Yes, Mihifu. I feel like I am the person who is best suited to torture people in the kitchen when it comes to things, because I have the most hours in played up of anybody I've ever known. So
yeah, you play that game so much, but it's fun.
One of them I'm good at, so why not? It's so funny. I worked in kitchens all my life just to play played up.
So you get it personal. We're gonna raid Oblivious Damsel today.
Yes.
And Drake and I will be back on Monday, as we said.
Yeah, Monday.
Oh yeah, wait. What's gonna be next Saturday? What game are we playing? What game are we doing?
Oh, fuck. Wait, it's me again. That's right.
Yeah, it's on your channel.
What did I pick?
What did you pick? Holy shit. Oh no.
This is life these days, everybody. We just like, wait, what? Huh? Who? Because there's always so much shit going on. Oh, come on, Discord. I even sent it to you already. So all I have to do. Oh, we're doing Testament. Role-playing in the biblical era.
Oh, right. No wonder I forgot. Yeah.
Yes, because it's a huge meme that it even exists. So... that's going to be fun. And everybody will be like, what the fuck, why are you reviewing this? And that's the whole point of that one, because we needed WTF there in the mix, and that's why I picked it. So.
Yes. I personally can't wait to play The Son of God. Which God, who knows? Yeah, that's going to be great. Look forward to that. That's going to be in Trick's channel.
Yep.
And we will see you on Monday or whenever you have time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the great turnout. Good show today, Drake. Thank you so much. And have a good one, everyone. Oh yeah, also, it's still summertime only for the US next week, so my streams might be in weird hours. So, because I'm going to adhere to American time for when I can.
So I'll get fixed the 30th.
So it'll all get fixed next Sunday. Yes, I can't wait. So stupid.
I can't wait either.
It is so stupid. I never knew it was like different for different continents until I started VTubing. Yep.
And here we are, the cultural exchange. Why does it have to be this part of culture?
Yeah, it's so dumb. Just get rid of it. Why we were gonna do that, and then everything else went wrong. Anyway, see you soon, folks. Bye bye, everyone. Have a good one. Have a good weekend. Rest well. Take some you time. And have
this weekend.
Yeah. Bye bye. See you soon.